without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like Kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, they might just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, they might just have to leave. Yeah, shoot, 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 shoot. Yeah, shoot, shoot. Yeah, shooting, shooting, shooting. Yeah, shooting, shots. Shooting stars, shooting stars, shooting stars, shooting stars. Didn't even get to cross.
Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, people? It's Tottenham away, the best place to be on a Monday night. Welcome. If you're not a Spurs fan, welcome as well. You are also allowed to participate in our channel. What can I say? Wolves beat us 2-1. That's 3 in a row for Gary O'Neill against Tottenham Hotspur. Terrible performance. We're going to obviously discuss it. We're also going to cover... We need to have a real serious chat about some players. And we also need to have a serious conversation about Spurs. It says it in the title. What has actually changed at Spurs? We do need to have a conversation about it. So before we begin, though, let's say hello to the panel, the beautiful panel. JP, how are you, my man?
Yeah, not too bad. Still a bit peeved, I think, from Saturday. It was just... I think we both saw each other after the game and was just, can't deal with this. Speak to you later. Right. Kind of.
Yeah.
And it's, if I'm being honest, it probably did affect my Sunday and kind of even today, just thinking about it, it just peeves me. So I'm looking forward to getting rid of some comments out today.
There's someone backstage. In some parts of the world, they call him a king. In other parts of the world, they call him a queen. On Tottenham away, we call him the prince.
Hey.
Iggy, how are you?
Thank you very much for the little introduction. It's much appreciated. I'm. Do you know what? I'm actually doing all right. You know, I'm actually all right. I got my coffee to hand. I'm good to go, man. How are you guys? How's everyone in the chat?
3 hours. Let's go, man. ain't doing 6 like he did the other night, though.
Hell no. Well, he can. He can. I'll just drop it off. He can go. He can go all night if he wants. No problem.
I woke up the next day.
Insane with a massive headache.
Yeah, I had a headache. I didn't feel well, and I actually said to myself, "What did we actually talk about for 7 hours?" Maz, you were on that show.
I was on that show. Yeah,
you were on that show. How are you today?
Sound happy about it.
So what was that, Sir?
I said, "How are you today compared to Saturday?"
Well, it's not the end of the world. Let's put it that way. You know, I'm not happy about what's happened. You know, there's some realities that I'm sure we're gonna dive into. But let's put it this way: I think the honeymoon period is come to an end, and now we're getting into the real meat and veg of Tottenham Hotspur.
Meat and veg. I thought you were about to say meat and 2 veg, and then I was going to wonder where we're going with it, but I'm glad you didn't. Lee, my man, how are you?
Good, mate. Good, mate. First day of half term, so I took a sneaky day off. Reminisced on life. Got a fresh trim. Me and the boy went and got a fresh trim this morning. Feeling great. And now I've got to deal with 2 kids and work for the rest of the week. So,
Listen,
that's no way to speak about JP and Iggy.
Yeah, sorry, boys. Really sorry.
Let's say that.
Let's say a quick hello to everyone in the comments. Big up to all of you who have tuned in. We've got over 120 odd already. Please like, subscribe, follow the channel. Nita, how are you? I hope you're good. She says, you know, I don't help Tottenham Hotspur cause. We are, sorry, let me start again. You know, I don't help Tottenham Hotspur cause. We are weak. Okay, we are weak in midfield, my opinion. Just dropping it. Magic needed 8 months shaking already. Right, you're talking broken sentence, so bear with me. He'll know today or tomorrow. Screw ain't coys. Nita, I think you've used a language translator, maybe. I don't know. But hello. Sergios, as long as Levy's there, nothing changes. We will make the most revenue from games. Listen.
Say that still.
We'll make the most. We'll make the most.
I think that's it. He's had enough.
You mentioned Levy and that's it. Done. He's gone. He's gone.
I think that will carry on.
You've only got to mention Levy once, and he's out of here. Oh, he is.
I got booted out. I got booted out. Do you know? Actually, I won't read for every single one.
Daniel was watching.
I'll just say hello instead.
Eugene.
Big up Eugene. Eugene, Conrad, big up to you. Tony's in the house. Scott M's in the house. Language Angels, hello. Kelvin, I hope you're doing well, my man. Jason's in the house. Tot Spurs. Chris Agomba, big up to you. SVBG, how are you doing? Williams in the house. Graham, how you doing? Good to see you again on the weekend. Huddersfield Town, big up. Dan G, Dietrichs, Kane. She became a butterfly. How you doing? Get the fraud Arteta out of my club. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. DJ Marcus Anthony, our in-house DJ. Big up. Mark Swift says, what has changed in the club?
Man?
He's changed as in sex. Or is he asking? Do you mean changes in sex? The Butty Hotspur, big up to you. Norman Stanley Fletcher, big up. Dan P, Ray the Yid. We've got Robert in the house. Wayne Holland, Leicester fan. Williams in the house. JJ, Mark, hope you're doing well. Yones, big up to you, brother. Keith, I'm going through these quickly, guys, so that we can get the show debates properly started. On the turning away, big up. 3M, I hope you're doing well. Tom81, hello again. Hope you're doing well. RAWR, big up. We've got Nikki in the house. We got, who else is new here? We've got Philly. How you doing? Iggy, who's on the show. Keith's in the house. I'm not going to pronounce your name because you're not going to catch me out, but hello. Dan G, big up again. Igor, hope you're doing well. Long time. Double D, big up. A user, bring it, big boy. And Mark Cousins, hope you are good. There's Lee, my man. Didn't see you on the weekend, but I hope you're well. Yeah, I didn't go to the Antwerp this weekend. Alrighty. So Oh, last one there as well. Ian Collins, how you doing? I hope you're well. Congratulations on the marathon run. Well done.
Wow.
Was he talking about us, the
Thank
marathon show? The marathon show. All right, lads, look. Before the game, the big debate was what we're going to do about Porro and Dogie. Will it be Emerson and Davies? Will it be Davies and Dragusin? Will Emerson and Van der Ven play, with Emerson going left back so that Dragusin goes into the centre-back role? In the end, it was Chicken Royale and Ben Davies, usual goalie and centre-backs. Midfield, Saab, Basuma, Madison, Bentancur was dropped, and the front three of Kulu, Richie and Son, no Timo and no Brennan Johnson. On the bench, we had Austin, Dragusin, Skip, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Lascelles, so Gill, Werner and Johnson. You'd say it's probably one of the strongest benches we've had all season. We've all been saying the band's back together. I think most of us predicted a win. I think I predicted 3-2, I think. Look, we lost 3-2, but we dominated possession.
2-1.
We had more shots. We didn't have as many on target as Wolves. Our passing accuracy was far better. They had more clear-cut chances. We had a lot more corners. So on a balance of play, it was actually a fairly even game in terms of attacking stats. But tactically, they set up low block. They stuck to it. They didn't move from it. And one counter-attack, which finished us off. And a set piece that we've been struggling through. And as Iggy's been saying for weeks and weeks, we've got to stop conceding 2 goals every game. Well, it happened again. JP, look, man, we were there. I've got a confession to make, and I'm going to say it now. I'm bored at Spurs. I'm going to say it. I'm bored. I've been going now since kind of end of December, all of January, and start of February. Mate, I'm not enjoying it. Like, I like meeting up with the guys. I like having a drink. I like having a chat afterwards, maybe doing a reaction video. There's 15, 20 minutes in the game where I'm like, yeah, okay, this is a bit exciting, but I'm bored, guys. I'm not enjoying it. And my mate, Panny, who I sit next to, he said to me, Stel, you're right. And I said, Panny, I'm bored. He goes, yeah, look, it's not the best of games. I'm like, no, I've been like this for ages. Like, I don't enjoy this. Like, this isn't entertaining football. We've got our Tottenham back. I'm not feeling it. Maybe this is just me, but JP, like, how do you feel when you're in the stadium at the moment? I actually feel the atmosphere is flat as well, if I'm honest with you. I don't think the atmosphere is great.
It's not too dissimilar, if I'm being honest. I will say the atmosphere is flat, and I presume that's just because the way the results are. And you know how it is at football. You need the team to be able to do something on the pitch, to get people to stand up, get people to get behind them. Even if it's a hard tackle, if it's a couple of goals, if it's a great bit of play or something like that. But we don't really seem to be putting it all together at all. And one thing I did notice was that, and I think I saw, was that Alex's video? And I think he was spot on. We seem to play in little spurts. At the start of the game, we'll play well for the first 8 minutes, something like that. Then kind of go off the boil. Then maybe come back in the second half, play for a bit, then go off the boil, then try and recover it at the end. And it's almost like, yes, looking at those stats, you see, oh, wow, look at all that possession, look at all that passing, but it's all nothing. You know, they're not actually doing anything. And I think that has a big impact on the actual folks in the stadium and the way the atmosphere is, because you need something to, yes, we as fans need to get behind them and cheer them to actually do something, but it's also, it's a round robin. They also need to do something on a pitch, which gets the fans up and at them in a way. And it's quite flat. There's no, as in kind of that Wolves game, there was almost nothing there. There was no speed, there was no pace to it, there was no passing, it was bitty, nothing worked, no fluidity, anything. And as you say, you kind of almost sit there and go, okay, there you go, Wolves have gone 1-0 up.
Iggy, right, so last week when I wasn't on the show, you know, you mentioned that, you know, I post things on social media, right, that you don't always agree with, which is fine. We're allowed to disagree. In fact, I like it when we disagree, because it gives me evidence to say to people we're not an echo chamber, which is another one of the wonderful things we get targeted with. But I get called negative, toxic, and I'm told that I'm not actually a Spurs fan when I say this player's not good.
saw that
This
comment.
player's
You got
not
called
good.
a gooner.
Gooner, Man City fan.
Yeah, Man City.
Right, and because I constantly post this player's not good, this player's not good, this player's not good, this player's not good, the performances aren't good. And then when a result like this happens, am I not being proven right? Am I not being proven right for the things that I'm saying? Or in your eyes, Iggy, are you like, nah, still, do you know what? You don't have a point. Like what? Because for me, what? Like you've defended some of these players. Not by the way, I'm not just calling out the crap players. Some of our good players didn't turn up as well. But is it a point where you just can't defend it? You can't defend some of these players anymore, or are you like no, give it more time? You know.
No, first and foremost, I'll go back to the question that you asked at the beginning about the starting lineups. I was disappointed to see both Davis and Emerson in the starting lineup together. I expected perhaps one of them to start. I didn't expect both to start. And for that, only Ange can take responsibility. He selects the 11. So he has to be included in my critique of what I'm about to say, at least on that front alone. Dietrich, I just anyway, right?
Let's just get it out of the way. Thank you for the super chat. AC Milanos 42 and hashtag Ange out in Sargi. By the way, Dietrich is Ange out. No, he's actually Ange out. Already, he is.
No,
I mean, when you bring up idiot comments, that has to be for he actually falls into that idiocy in it all. To actually say Ange out after 6 months in charge is pure ludicrous. Anyone else, by the way, that thinks the same, Ange out, I would put them in that idiot bracket. So Dietrich is the king. Since you was talking about king, queens, and he's the king of the idiocy. Anyone that follows that
there goes
way
all
of thinking falls into. So thank you for the super chat, Dietrich. As every week, piss off. In memories of the starting
monetization.
No. Listen, my thought was this. Okay, I always thought the back four and the back five, if you like, if we include Vicario, picks itself. If any of those are missing, say in this case the two fullbacks, you think in my rational thinking and logic is who's the next in line? And for me, ahead of everyone else is Dragusin. I've seen Emerson. I've seen Davis. There's nothing more I can learn from these guys, unless we're in complete and utterly emergencies, which is where we have been. When both centre backs were out, we had to play Davis and Emerson, and I completely understood that moment. Now we have Dragusin in, so you think, well, he's got to take one of the spaces. So either Van der Ven goes left back and he slots into centre back, which is what I would have preferred. I would have preferred our left side to be a little bit stronger because we knew we had Neto on that side, right? So that was my way of thinking, and play Emerson. Or you could have gone with the other option where Dragusin goes right back, keep Van der Ven there, and stick Davis wide left. I was less preferent of that choice, but I would have understood it a bit more than what we ultimately went with both those fullbacks, given the reasons I just said about Neto being on one. To be honest with you, both wide players were really good on the day. So that was the first disappointment upon seeing the starting lineup. The second part is, again, we started off in the same similar that we have done in the last home games. But what I've noticed now that the away team, especially the teams like Brentford, Wolves, who are a good side by the way as well, I have to say, Palace, it's going to happen again, guys. They have now worked out. It happened. There was another team in between, Brighton, who are a better side, but they're kind of set up similar as well. They're quite happy to leave you the pitch. They're quite happy to play a little bit low block because they know they have the players to hurt you in the counter attacks. And we have seen a lot of similarities in these games because they know that we will give the teams opportunities to get in behind us, given the high line we play. And that's fine. That's just the way we play. We're going to give teams opportunities. But what's happening now is that, say, for example, the Brentford game, where they had chances, but they didn't quite put them away. They kept missing, the target a little bit. Ansu Fati was another chance that kind of went begging as well. That could have been costly for us as well against the Brighton game. Wolves in a different. They converted pretty much the chances that they created. You know, they might have had double the amount of chances, but converted when they needed to. For us, the disappointment, yet again, as you touched upon, the fact that we could see them again another couple of goals, is the level of disappointment in the manner of that we concede those goals.
Another one
The
from a
ball,
set piece. Isn't
the
it?
ball from set piece, from the moment it leaves the goal, the kick, to ultimately when the ball ends up in the net, the flight, the header, the goal, the guy's left unmarked. So we haven't. What I'm struggling with more than anything else is I'm okay with the attacking football, but we have to take a level of details in the defending or in the manner that we defend. If we're
Iggy,
going to
you
do
were
that,
happy with our attacking football?
no, we're always going to be at that. We're going to always try and play hard. Look, we didn't play well. I'm not saying we play well. I'm just saying that how we set up would always be.
You mean in general, defending?
Yeah, general. I thought our defending as a
Okay.
team was diabolical at times. And what I'm finding watching the game. I mean, you guys were at the stadium. I watched it from home. Is how frantic the game is throughout the whole 98 minutes. It is just like gung ho football. It is just like it was almost as if we're playing on desperation mode right from the off. There's no in-game management. There's no at any point, even when we equalise, right, a minute after the second half has started, Kulusevski equalised. You think you could have a 5-10 minute spell where everyone's on everyone's up. But you still got to have in-game management because you're 1-1. You haven't, you want to go and win the game, but it's not go and get it at all costs to the point that you're going to actually leave yourself so open.
Iggy, were we open though? Right. Let me show you something. Because we did this on Saturday.
No, that
right,
second half, that second
The
goal.
one goal was like directly
Right,
from the corner.
but are we open? Right. So this is when Neto.
See,
picked up
I
the
heard
ball.
what you had to say about this. You gave all the flack to Emerson, and I'm sorry, man. I'm calling Basuma out on this one here.
Basuma should have also
Because he
caught
had,
It was his
and I
problem
spoke
in
to
the
you guys
first place,
about it in
right,
the
Iggy?
chat. He lost it. He lost the tackle in the first
1
one.
minute, Iggy, 1 second.
Go on.
Right, because we'll come on to that. You're saying that we're too open, right? I don't think we are. Let me explain. When Neto picks up the ball, if I look at who's actually running back and who's attacking for Wolves, this looks like a 5-on-3 to me. And Emerson's got 10 yards head start. Okay. By the time we get halfway to our goal, we've still got a 5-on-3.
He's
and
in the
Emerson,
same spot, isn't he, Emerson?
Right. And Emerson is
Emerson, Sarr, Davis, Van der Ven.
is still the last man, right?
You got Basuma by the ref and Gomez behind him.
It doesn't matter who's there. My point is
calling
this.
them all
By
out.
the time we get closer to the goal, it's still 5-on-3. By the time Neto gets in the box, it's 5-on-1. And by the time he pulls it back to pass to Gomez, it's 5-on-3. So my response to you is, from the moment Neto picked up the ball to the moment they scored, and through the whole, movement of the ball
Build up of
to the
play.
goal, at what stage were we open? We had 5 against 3 of them, worst case, 5 against 2 most of that time. We weren't open. We had 5 defenders in a defensive phase.
We are open to receiving counterattacks, is what I meant. In regards to this particular move.
Yeah, but we dealt with it. But what does it matter when you get 5 players back?
Yeah,
What
but the
does it
problem
matter?
you got here, no one is
Look at
sensing the
that,
danger because you're thinking yourself.
That's different to being open.
No
Though.
one's sensing the danger. So the question has to be, who are the number 6s in this team? Because if I've got a 60-yard run, I'm seeing Emerson is going across to engage with Neto. I've got to now.
But he didn't though.
No, hang on. No. Let's get one thing right. Neto did not get a shot in. He came back on himself and played a pass. So he did his bit. It might not be an ideal or exemplary or Paolo Maldini-esque, but he did what he had to do, which is ultimately stop him from shooting. Yeah, all right, he got done. Mate, everyone gets done as a defender one time or another. But the bottom line is he was able to look back and pick a man out. Why we then got, there's two other players that they had available to them. One was getting picked up at the back stick, and the only other player that was coming in late was Gomez. Now, if I've got a 60-yard run, I can see what's going on in front of me. I'm looking at Emerson and Sarr is heading that way. I'm looking to see if I'm running straight, if I'm Basuma, I'm looking to see who else, if he does Emerson in, who else can he pick out? I've got to make sure that I'm in front of him, make sure that he does not get the ball. It doesn't matter what happens with Neto, it doesn't matter what happens with Emerson or the back stick. I need to make sure that this guy in the centre of the penalty spot
Dietrich
does
says
not
this is why
receive
he's
the ball.
out, Iggy. Dietrich says this is why he's out.
What? Because it doesn't. Because of what? It doesn't
because we're open, because of the high line, because of the defensive structure.
No, I don't.
You know, we had Mourinho out. We had the.
Throw that picture back on still a second, like that. Which last one? And I guess I would admit that.
This is the moment where Basuma realizes Gomez is there. This is the time that.
Yeah, but why are there
right?
Why are there three players on
earlier? But there's three of them there.
Just 1 second, JP.
That got done by him cutting across.
That there,
schoolboy. One second. Right, JP, finish your point and I'll go to Lee. Go on, finish your point, JP. Say it again.
No. I was saying I agree that Emerson should have come across earlier and be it like just even if he held him up higher up the pitch. I understand what Iggy's saying that he stopped him having a shot, but he should have stopped him from even getting into the penalty box, right? But the fact that three of them have got done there by one square ball, that's
three players.
That's worse.
JP, he couldn't have engaged
three
before.
Mugs there.
He couldn't have. He couldn't have engaged.
I'll come to you.
No, he couldn't have engaged before, guys. He had to go. Neto's quick, man. He could have skipped past him. Which point did you want him to engage? Look where he is right now.
Right now.
You want him to cross right now. He would have had to take one touch and he's got 40 yards ahead of him. And there's no way Emerson has gone on a foot race with him because he ain't catching him.
He did. Iggy, he matched him. He matched him the whole way. Look, he matched him the whole way. What are you talking about?
Okay, where's the problem? What he's done there? Where is the problem? Where's the problem?
You shouldn't have let him get to the box.
When Basuma lost the ball 80 yards from the goal, right? He's lost it miles away. The reason you got defenders...
He should have committed the foul there. There's the first mistake. Let's talk about that. No one's cute anymore. No one trips anyone up.
I'm not blaming. I'm not saying Basuma's not at fault. What I'm saying is midfielders, attackers, strikers, they lose possession of the ball. And if the other team attacks, that's why you have defenders. If the defender doesn't go over to defend, what is the point of him? At no stage did Emerson defend until the last second when he stopped him from shooting, but then he got spun on
right. I just watched it back, and Emerson is basically at 70% sprint rather than 100% sprint to get back.
Emerson, look at the gap Emerson leaves.
When Neto goes into the box, he then accelerates to close him down. Neto cuts it back, which totally wrong foots Emerson and easily passes it through Sarr and Van der Ven to whoever that player was.
So we're solely listen. I'm one of Emerson's worst critics. Are we solely blaming him for this situation?
So the next problem is that the other players were ball watching rather than picking up the runners. Probably.
Thank you. Only two runners, but
anyway, let Lee go because he's been patiently waiting.
Well, first of all, some of the blame's got to lie with Emerson, right? Because the first thing we teach our boys is that the idea of tracking back a player like that is to keep him away from goal. He's with his run, it's almost like he's running parallel with him rather than towards him. He's got to close the gap a bit, and he doesn't do that at all. It's almost like Neto closes the gap on him when he gets into the box. But secondly, that last picture you put up, Stel, that is schoolboy defending. That's like watching 9-year-olds buzzing around the ball. We always say, hold on, we always say to our boys, if you're tracking back, one of you goes to the ball and the rest of you cover the area where the ball could go into. And this is the issue. Now, Basuma, I watched it back again. Basuma definitely has fault in here because what he does, he runs back, but not once does he look over his shoulder, which is what you should do. Always look over your shoulder. Where is someone coming from? He doesn't do that until Gomez comes in the box, and then he's almost like, oh, where'd he come from? You could almost see it. He was like, oh, where'd he come from? It's like, because you're not looking. You've got to have even a little glint, and that's complete breakdown of that whole defending, whether it's through fear of needing to get back and stuff like that. I do not know, but that there. So Emerson should have closed down, right? He should have closed the gap. Don't have to be going in for a tackle, but he's got to be closing the gap and sort of pushing him away. That's first part. But this to me, and that goal alone, for me, has cemented it in my mind that Basuma is not a 6. He's just not a 6. He's not that defensive-minded guy that's thinking about what happens. He's forward thinking. He's not thinking back. And I think that has, if you had someone else in there who's more defensive-minded and would be thinking about where's other players come looking around, I don't think it maybe would have happened.
Lee,
so that for me is not. That's another thing that's raised a concern with me.
I would take it one step further, Lee, and I would say that I don't think that Basuma does very well going forward either. He's not doing really great when he's going back, and I don't feel he's really great when he's going forward. And that's what's confusing.
No, you're probably right. And just to hold on, Stell, Mark in the chat. Royal cannot get close to Neto. He'll sell himself. Neto will get past him otherwise. I'm not saying he needs to get close to him. I'm just saying to you, you've got to close the gap down. Yeah, you can't close the gap. Finally, close the gap when you're in the box, because that's more dangerous than trying outside of the box. But you've got to at least close. You've got, rather than leaving 15, 20 yards between, you've got to leave like 5 or 6 yards between. So you've still got time, but you're not allowing him. As soon as he comes close to him in the box, he's turned him, and that's the issue. So yeah, I agree with you. He shouldn't be on his feet, but he left too much of a gap to begin with. He should have made more of a diagonal run towards him rather than running parallel, because that's what's just leaving the space open.
But also, guys, why are we leaving one man at the back where everyone's up for the corner? Why is that even happening? Why is that even happening? Because we think
we've got Carl Walker, haven't we? That's what the City do.
Because
we haven't got Carl Walker. We've got Emerson.
Because they had 11 men
one at the back. Sorry?
They had 11 men back.
Yeah, but the thing is, still, it's far quicker when you're running at someone than you haven't run back. It's like Neto, man. As soon as Basuma does what he does, he picks up the ball. He's only got one thing on his mind, and he's just to skin as many people as he can. He is lightning quick. Why are we not? What I'm trying to get at, guys, we don't take. And this is something. This is a
question, though.
This is a critique. Hang on. This is a critique of mine that I have with footballers in general, not just Tottenham. I have this problem about Tottenham, but just general. Nobody, absolutely nobody, takes pride in defending anymore. There's no art in defending anymore. It's almost as like it's a consequence or something that we have to do during a match, because it's all about attacking, playing triangles, going forward. There isn't the same heart and desire to defend as well as attack. It doesn't matter how attacking you are at football. You cannot go into matches hoping that the only way of winning is by getting one goal more than your opposition. Not when you're conceding 2-3 goals a game.
I think Romero likes to defend.
No, I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about as a team, there's a collective. Like, in that scenario, right? In that second goal, we should know, with the amount of players that we got. We should not be conceding that goal, because ultimately you've got to look at the situation, see Emerson going up to engage with Neto, however late it might have been, and say, look, if he skins him and he scores, Emerson's going to have to take that. However, there's only 2 other guys there. The guy at the back slip was never going to get the ball because he was already marked. I think it was Ben Davies that was on him. So he had the idea to go and get him and say, he ain't getting this ball. So there's only one other guy that was engaging in that attack, and that was Gomez. There was nobody else. At one point, did not a single player, and I can put Basuma, Sarr, and whoever that third player is, I can't remember right now. It might have been Van der Ven, did not look round and say, do you know what? Fuck Neto, this guy's not getting the ball, and it's just cut that ball out. It's only him there. It's frustrating to see, and then like I said, the corners. Well, we are conceding goals like that regularly now, man. And I don't know who to. If I look at from
Ryan
corners, apparently Ryan
Mason
Mason is a set piece. Is a set piece coach.
He's
Do I look at Ange?
He's the forward set piece coach.
Okay, the defensive set
the-
pieces.
the defensive
Whoever's
one's
in
the
charge.
other guy.
We score lots of set pieces as well. We score
No. But I'm just being clear.
Listen,
the
it's
defensive one's
Ange,
the other
it's
guy that
Ange
he
and
brought in.
staff. My critique of Ange and staff, other than the two
That's what
fullbacks
Kev
that
said,
started.
Iggy. Look, let's talk
Yeah.
about poor coaches. We have Durant.
Yeah,
I've got no idea what they're
other
doing.
than, but listen, he self-admitted it earlier on in the season that he doesn't pay too much detail on the defensive part of it, which is an absolute travesty to hear because it's listen, 15% of every team's goals are scored through corners, set pieces. 15% is we are literally pissing that away in terms of conceding, and we're not doing enough at the other end in scoring.
Can I ask you guys a question? Right.
I know you asked me a question about that in a comment about the players. The players, look, I was happy with the rest of the starting lineup. To answer, because I know you asked one of that questions as well. I was happy with the rest of the starting lineups, apart from the two.
As an hour ago.
Yeah, I know, but we're getting round. We're getting round to it eventually.
Let me ask you the question, right? Listen, we're focusing on the defense at the moment. We're going to get onto the midfield and the attack, right? For me, the way I think we are set up at the moment is, and I've seen it quite often when I go to the stadium, Emerson, when we push up high, Emerson tends to be the last man. And I think because after Van der Ven, he's the second quickest. That's why I think they do it. Why Van der Ven's not there, I'm not so sure. But look, Emerson's there. If we had better quality players on the pitch in the wing-back positions, and let's say the number 6 as well, instead of Basuma, because Lee mentioned it, right? Does that goal, the second goal, does it go in? And the reason I ask this is, at the start of the season, this wasn't happening. Or is it because teams are now deliberately targeting it and they're deliberately going for it?
Of course they are. It's a ploy, man.
I think there's
I don't think Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City are going to play low block against us. I'm just saying. I don't think they will.
No, I definitely think that there's truth in what people are saying in regards to the other teams having enough data to look at Ange and his system and counter it.
Suss us out, Maz.
Yeah, and it's been, I think, where my real frustration has come is it's not that I think that we're we're in crisis at the moment, because we're not in crisis, or that we've bought badly this season, because we haven't. I don't think we've bought badly this season at all. We've had some really good signings this season: Van der Ven, Vicario, Doji's come in, etc., Maddison, right? But it's as you identified, still the first 10 games, everyone's thinking, wow, this guy's come in, he said all the right things, he's taken responsibility, the team's playing fantastic, this is our philosophy now going forward, everything's come into place. But then since that Chelsea game, everything has gradually eroded away from those 10 games, and it's got worse and worse and worse. And I'm with you. I don't think we've actually, yes, we've had a lot of possession. Yes, we're an attacking team. But is it actually really entertaining to watch? I'm not so sure it's really entertaining to watch. I always joke with you guys, in our WhatsApp group and stuff, and we talk that we are tapping Merchants FC. It seems every type of goal we're trying to score is by literally walking it into the net and setting up a tap-in for a player. That's boring to me. And if we were doing it like Man City, where we're dribbling around everyone's beating their man, we're playing these amazing triangles, there's pace in the team, there's quality, then that looks good. But we've got players that aren't as good as, the top level teams trying to do that, and we just look poor. And we're relying on our, elite players like Son. I'm not going to classify Maddison as an elite player, because I don't think he's quite proved it yet, because he's really dropped off. But we're relying on moments of magic effectively from Son to save the day, and I don't think that's good football. And that's why, for me, I'm really concerned, because all of a sudden, Angie's tone from taking responsibility, saying all the right things, putting all that positivity out there about where the club is going, he's in charge. In the last couple of press conferences, he seems defeated already. It's already started. And that is really concerning. And I'm Ange. I want us to back the manager. I want us to give him the players. I really like what he's doing, but I can't buy this negative. All of a sudden, this negativity. Like Daniel Levy's defeated him already.
It could have just been
It's in the
pissed off with
post-match. Just
it
Maz,
could've
it's in like the post-match interviews, isn't it? He's got his head down like that, and his whole response to a question is with his head down, talking away like that. He does
Yeah,
almost
but he always
look.
does that, JP.
I mean,
He's very eyes down kind of person. But
I don't know,
one thing I would say, I don't think
first few games it was like obviously we were winning, but it was all chatty and laughy and mate.
He
and
was
stuff like that.
disappointed with the performance, man. He said it.
No, I get that.
Do you know what I think
read
is?
the
Let me.
super chat? Lee, can I just read the super chat quickly? And then I'll go straight to you. Ian JD, big up. Thank you for the super chat. He says 23 years, one trophy is simply not good enough. The Wolves' defeat is down to years of squad neglect by Levy. I hope fans don't turn on Ange. Fans like Dietrich's Kane. He didn't say that bit. Yeah, Lee, go for it, man.
So, I don't think Ange is defeated, and I don't think Levy's defeated him. That's not the issue. I think what the issue is now is that I was excited for the first of all as well. Let's just like to say that let's not take anything away from Wolves because they're just as up and down as we are. But when they're on their day, they're a good team, right? I said this last week, so don't take anything away from Wolves. Secondly, I don't think he's defeated by Levy. I don't think I think what the realization is now is that he knows, or he's now seeing, that there's a lot more bad spots in the team than he first thought. And some of these players that he was hoping would come good haven't. And I think that's what he's like, right, I now understand where the frailties are. Who
you're referring to, players-wise?
Well, I'll come on to that. I can
do that bit for you.
Okay, all right. I think that's what his realization is now. He's like, right, I've got everyone back. I know we've had I said that I don't think even if we had Porro and Udogie in those in positions and they were fit, whether it had been a different story, it might have been. Udogie might have engaged Neto. It might have been a completely different story. I get that, but then it could have been even worse. We could have lost 4-1. You don't know how things are going to pan out. But for me, I think he's come to the realization that the job that he's got, and I'm no way, shape, or form, and even entertaining this whole Ange out and all this kind of stuff right now because it's far too early. Is that he knows that there's a lot more that he needs in the summer now than what we've got. What we first thought. I mean, Summer's thought 2 or 3 players. I think I'm right with Stel. I think we need at least 6 players in certain positions as first team starters.
I've said 8 or 9.
Yeah, maybe. But I think that's his realization now. And now he's got to the point where he's like, right, this is what I've got to deal with for the next 16 games. And I've got to find a way of, I think listen, on the Wolves match, we're saying about, going in spits and spats and here and there. And I think there were a few times where we were playing those little balls around the edge of the box and we were doing triangles and we were getting through and that would look fantastic. It was great, but it was like once or twice. The rest of the time, it was absolute madness. Something else I noticed as well, 2 things I noticed. Look at the difference between how Udogie plays and Davis plays when he plays on the left. Every single time the ball came to Son, you could see Davis doing an arc around him, going on the outside, every single time. Boom. Whereas Udogie plays on the inside rather than the outside. So that was completely different. There was no one in that gap. And when I was talking about where you play 5 across the attack, there was no one in that gap to play to. Secondly, second half, have a shot. Oh my God, the amount of times we're trying to play it around the side and that.
Tapping.
Just have a shot. If you 20 shots on goal, right? Even if one of them rebounds or comes off and you get a tap in that way, it's better than just not even getting a cross in, right? Just have Van der Ven twice. He got the ball 10 yards from the edge of the box. I was going, just have a whack. Someone's got to have a shot because otherwise we never got a chance. And also, on Maddison, it is very clear that if Maddison doesn't have someone on his wavelength up front, he's useless. He's got no outlet, and Richarlison is not that guy. He's got no outlet whatsoever when Richarlison plays up front. And then all of a sudden we took Richarlison off and put Timo up front. Don't think that helped, and then he got taken off. So he had no chance to play with Son up there. So,
Lee, I just want to unpack what you said a little bit, right? And push back on certain points. I don't disagree with the majority of what you said, but this realization part I've seen happen with the last 3-4 managers, right? Poch, I'm not a manager, I'm a coach. That he started to realize then, and it slowly went downhill. Nuno, let's discount Nuno. Jose, realization that he wasn't being backed, and the players he had were absolute garbage. So he started throwing them under the bus. It all started slowly, though, didn't it?
But we can't be saying that now, Maz. He's had one window in a January, which is you can't say that now.
No, but hold on, right? Conte, basically, as soon as the season finished and he started that, the next season, you could tell that something was off. I'm not criticizing Ange per se, and I'm not saying that he's done wrong or it's his fault. All I'm saying is I'm seeing the signs in what he said in his post-match interview as really worrying. He's talking about, I'm only ever at clubs for like 2, 3, 4 years.
I'm not a magician.
I'm not a magician and things like that. And for me, how can you go from being incredibly positive 2-3 weeks ago to that all of a sudden? I know this is a loss, but that seems to me completely out of character for him, right? And in reference to the way Davies plays and Emerson, I mean, come on, we've been saying this for like years, right? And he's seen them obviously firsthand. We knew in our group that if you played Davies and Emerson in that inverted fullback role where they advance and take part in the attack, that was going to be a disaster. So I'm with Iggy. Why the hell are we seeing these players still? I would rather take a punt on a youngster or Dragusin coming in, because I know what those other players are going to do.
As Dragusin, to me now, for me, it's become very clearly that, and I think Stel mentioned it the other night, I think it's become very clear and evident that Dragusin will only play if one of the two centre-halves are not 100%, because
100%.
Because this option that we had an opportunity to play him, and for me, behind that back four, Porro, Dogi, Van der Ven and Romero should only be Dragusin and everyone else after that. So the moment that those two, were up for grabs and he didn't feel one of them, for me is now also when Stel said that, I thought, you know what, it's bang on the money. It has to be, because there's no other explanation. There's been a chat to say he is the alternative to this guy, the alternative, and that's how it's played out. But lastly, I do want to say this: my disappointment is purely from losing the game at home to Wolves. We had our last 2 home games were wins. This one we've lost. We dropped the bollock. It's such a Spurs thing to do on the back of the 2 wins, albeit not convincing ones. But put the Wolves defeat to one side. We are exactly where we're meant to be and where I expected us to be. And I've said all season, us returning to Europe should be the target, be it Europa or Champions League would be the ultimate Champions League spot would be for year one under Ange would be the ultimate. We are in full target of that. So I don't understand why everyone's disappointed. If everyone's coming here tonight, hang on social media and everyone else, everyone's angry and disappointment. If they want to tell me they're all disappointed on the back of the Wolves game, I'm all for it. We can discuss it here tonight. If everyone's upset because of other things, other situation, calling Ange out, when after 6 months in charge, he is exactly where I expected him to be. For me, that's just completely.
Iggy, I'll tell you why.
Because Man City, I'll round up this last bit.
Iggy.
Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal are playing a league of their own. We are not in that bracket. We are in the bracket below that. Man United and Chelsea are going to come strong next season. We are in that bracket. We are in that bracket.
Iggy, I think I don't think any of us are. I hate the fact that we always have to say this. None of us are Ange out. We all like Ange, right? I think my disappointment is coming from seeing the same cycle repeating itself time and time again, and we're discussing the same things again and again and again, regardless
Not the
of the
manager's
manager.
doing, man.
Yeah, right. And it's not Andrew's fault. And the only reason we're discussing the mistakes that Andrew's made in that, because we should be able to analyse the game and criticise him where necessary. Otherwise, we might as well just be happy clappers, right? So us talking about the Andrew and his mistakes, I think, is relevant because he has made mistakes, right? And he picks the team, as you said earlier, and we can criticise him for that team he picked because I don't think Emerson and Davies was the right call.
To stem off what Iggy is saying,
Maury, can I just get my point, and then I want you to speak on the game as well. Thanks for coming, by the way. Big up, Iggy. The reason I'm disappointed is because one, the football is bang average to watch. I'll tell you now, right? When people are saying, "I want entertaining football," thank God that turgid Conte is gone, and I'm watching Conte-esque football. We've got our Tottenham back, have we? Andrew's only 2 points better off than what Conte was same stage as last season.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm
he's
with a
shitter team.
Yeah.
He's had a much shitter team. Yeah,
and I'm disappointed because we've spent over 200 odd million pounds on some good players, some players who I don't think are good, by the way, and I've been saying it all season. And we played Burnley in the FA Cup. Burnley are finished. And we couldn't even score against them. And we were terrible. And it took a Porro wonder strike. We played Brighton, the mighty Brighton, and they played better than us. Brentford, who are 15th in the league, we're lucky to get a win against them. We play Man City at our ground in the FA Cup, and we don't lay a finger on them. And then Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are 11th, we were awful. I'm disappointed because we look shit. We genuinely look shit. And I'm being honest about it. And I said about 20 minutes ago, I made a confession. I said, guys, I'm bored going to the games. Right? I don't blame Ange, by the way. I don't blame Ange. I blame our fans for raising ridiculous expectations on players that shouldn't be at this club. Exactly. Davies and Emerson have improved. They've stepped up. Davies and Emerson have played in 5 of the 6 league games we've lost. Players that are bigging up Timo as a high risk, as a low risk signing. If he plays on the pitch and doesn't have an impact, you're high risk. People bigging up Brennan Johnson. People telling me Richarlison has arrived. Yet another game against a mid-table team where he failed to do anything. And against the top teams, he does nothing. These players are good at game. I've been saying this all season. That's, for me, our fans have had way too high expectation on bang average players and way too high expectation on I've got my Tottenham back.
No.
We as a fan base, Mario, I'll wrap it up. Yeah. We as a fan base and the fucking media, we never let anything pan out. Let's see where it goes. We've jumped way ahead. And you know what? I'm disappointed because of the performances, Iggy. I knew these players weren't that great. Yeah, but there's no excuse for Madison, Basuma, and Son to not be good on a match day. But that's for me.
I'm gonna say you're not a lot, but a little bit guilty because at the beginning of the season, your expectations was kind of like my expectations. I am the only one, and maybe Iggy, on this channel, right, that said, I came in August. I said, for me, I have no expectations. I said, we could clip it. I said, 8th or European Conference qualify in an identity. I had never changed my mind. I had people call me safe. No, big up, well, love him, but he called me safe. Oh, you don't want to, because for me, I'm like, it's a long season. I know my squad. But also too, it's the first year. It is the first year. So for me, I was like, 8th in an identity will make me happy. Right? Then we overachieved. I know some people disagree whatsoever. I think we overachieved in the sense of getting, first we were top of the league, and then we've been around 2nd, 3rd, 4th around the whole time. And I said, look, I technically have not changed. I said, okay, I'll bump up to 6th place because I see the other teams are struggling. Now you got Man United, who are 3 points behind us. You have Villa, who's still pulling out results right now. And then even Chelsea is starting to gain traction. Now, I say this. The first 10 games with the first 11, it was utopia. Right? That was the highest ceiling. But the one thing that is a struggle for our team is consistency. Basuma, using him as an example. But this all comes in the first season. And so that's why, for me, I'm not really disappointed because I said 7th or 8th. And if we finish 6th, like it looked like, it'd be anywhere from 4th to 6th.
Mari, I watched us playing tiki-taka preseason, right? I watched the first 10 games. We're playing fluid front foot attacking football. What I'm watching now is completely the opposite from that. I'm disappointed with the performances. I pay money to go there and it's rubbish. And for the record, I still think we'll get top 4, by the way. I do. I watched Man United yesterday. They're rubbish. Man United are rubbish. I don't care if they're winning. They will drop points. And when Villa's European campaign kicks in, the only worry I've got at the moment is if these performances don't fix up, then I can see us dropping off.
The thing is, who's going to score our goals? That's the only thing.
For me, I have to see it to believe it. Basically, if we get top 4, I'm going to see it get top 4. I was saying Sonny will be the difference, but after seeing the last 2 games, I'm like...
Yeah, but Son has to play up front. He needs to be the striker.
I agree with you. And that's going to have to be the big change. But right now, it could be anywhere from 4th to 6th. But I will throw this caveat for Champions League. 5th can still get you in if Liverpool and City.
Yeah, but Mari, but this is where we have to have some accountability for Ange, right? Because Stel says, "Oh, if Son plays number 9, right? Why isn't Ange playing him as a number 9? He's the only guy who can bloody finish."
Because you've got a guy that's scored 8 in 7 games. You can't drop him.
It's because he scored goals, right? And Sonny can make goals.
But after that Wolves match, I expect Son to start against Crystal Palace up front.
In the middle, yeah.
Now, Mari, I'll say I'm completely on board with what you said. I said exactly the same. I said we're a mid-table team. Where we are, we've put ourselves on such a high pedestal, or some people have put us on such a high pedestal that these type of games are now completely, burning their brains out. When I'm going into the game thinking this could go either way, literally before it even kicked off. I'm not expecting us to go out and beat them 4 or 5-0. And the first 10 games, I'll be honest with you, apart from Burnley, I don't think we necessarily played fantastic in them games. Again, we got last-minute goals, etc. But hold on.
We gave them
One second. What we did do on those 10 games, though, is I think we were playing, as you say, quick passing football, whereas now we seem to have, when we get the ball and play it out from the back, we seem to have taken the speed level down like 10 mile an hour. It's almost like we're trying to walk it through them. Whereas before we were like knocking it around, stuff like that. It's almost like the whole level's gone down. And that's where it becomes boring, right? And that's where teams can then get back, and then it also becomes a low block, and then it becomes what do we do now? Someone have a shot. Just get on with it.
And that's where
look at this.
When
it's
you start introducing,
this is why I blame fans. I want to say to Enfield Town, who says Stelios, don't blame fans. Read your fan base. Richie plays for Brazil above class strikers, but still knows best. So because Richie plays for the worst Brazilian team you've seen in 30 years, that makes him good enough to play an elite level position.
You can't think he's good.
No, this is our fan base, people. This is the problem.
I think one of the reasons why we've slowed down, right? Maury. One of the reasons why we've slowed down is when you lose Solomon, Perisic, you start introducing Richie into the team, Johnson, Turbo Wiener, right, and these lesser players into the team. The whole makeup of the team changes, right? Then we had our injuries happen, right? Then Bentancur came back and went out. Right, we had all the defensive problems and everything. It's no wonder why we've been playing so bad.
I will say, Maz, one thing I noticed against Wolves, Son had on that left-hand side, there were so many times he had opportunities with free grass in front of him. So many times he was open for the ball. So many times he made the run and he did not get the ball. I noticed that a lot at that Wolves game.
But
in
Maddison
particular,
needs to
right?
find him.
But it wasn't only Madison. It was also
Yeah, and Sarr
Romero. It was also
and everyone.
Davis.
Yeah.
JP,
There was a
JP.
few of
I
them.
also want to say, I also want to say
JP,
this.
I just want to jump on exactly.
supposed to correct
Sorry, Murray.
Maz.
It's important because it's exactly what JP just said. I have to speak on this, right? I do a show every Monday on Saeed TV. He gets about
Wonderful
2,000
show.
people watching the show live, right?
Wonderful
There's
episode.
a guy on there called Don, Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
And he said to me, what you're going to see from Timo Werner is he's going to make lots and lots of runs and nobody's going to pass to him. And we call him, he runs for the sake of running. And you watch when he comes Spurs. And I thought, that doesn't make sense. How can you make runs? And I'm literally watching exactly what he said happened at Chelsea. There's a reason they're not passing to him. I don't think they trust him. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they trust him.
That's no
Said that
excuse
2 weeks
for Son,
ago.
though. That's no
Can I
excuse
say
for
The same
Son,
thing
though.
happened at Chelsea.
Yeah.
That's no
I
excuse
was
for
supposed
Son.
to correct
That's
Maz.
all,
I
isn't
know
it?
I just came here late.
Son was the one playing there at the weekend against Wolves, and that's no excuse for Sonny not getting the ball.
But Sonny got on the
you
ball.
think you look, huh?
Sonny got on the ball.
No, I was saying there were so many times in that Wolves game that Son had space on that side and he didn't get the ball. He had grass in front of him, he didn't get the ball. A couple of times he made runs, he didn't get the ball. The balls weren't played into him.
It shouldn't be just
But if
Madison's responsibilities to play in
no,
those balls.
and that's what I'm saying, Iggy.
The whole
And
midfield.
especially if you're putting Son out there to say, okay, well, we'll play Richie in the middle because he's in his purple patch. We'll play Son out there to supply Richie. But then when the opportunities are there, no one's actually playing that ball to him. Doesn't make sense.
I watched last night. I watched a stream, and because we talk about the subject about expectations about this team, and I said what I had to say. I watched a YouTube show yesterday, and was with 6 people with different teams, right? The big, kind of like a big 6. And I watched the Tottenham representative, and he's one of many. That is the reason why people are complaining, because they threw out, this is the best this is the best that. Our team is great. This is this. We're going to challenge for the league. We're going to win the league. And I watched someone who was a United supporter give a compliment. Says, I like what he's doing. Yeah, you got struck, but I like what you're doing. But criticize Ange, and that person, that Tottenham fan, went berserk. Oh, you can't question him. He's a coach. None of you have never coached before, which I think is the most stupidest thing. Bad surgery. But you've never been a doctor before, so you can't criticize a doctor, a politician, your priest, whoever, because you haven't done that. Like, it's so ridiculous. And I think with our fan base, we have so overhyped things. And now they're feeling that disappointment. Whereas I said, look, it's year 1. Let these things organically generate.
I think we're good enough for top 4 this season. I think we are. I really do. The problem I've got at the moment is I cannot see, and I will criticize Ange. Stop playing Davies and Emerson. They're shit. They're absolute gash.
The only thing I was just
I'm
like I
fed up
said
with
to
it.
you at the beginning, it was
So why Ange didn't play a
They've
back
stepped
three?
up. Davies is a steady Eddie. He's a solid 6 out of 10. Shut up. He's been here 9 years. We've done nothing with him. You can't even compare Davies to Udogie. The levels are so different. And you want to talk about, but he went centre back when we needed him. We lost 5 games with him out of 6 in the league. I don't want to hear Timo Werner's good. It's ridiculous. A big red flag. When the only club that wants you after Chelsea is the club that took you, that got rid of you, big red flag. Why have we taken him? Because he's cheap. Brennan Johnson, I said it, waste of money. Him and Timo came on with 25 minutes to go. No impact. 0. Richarlison, I've been saying it every week. Look, I've been bringing up my little chart. Look, against the top teams, I put the last 2 games in red. a top team and a mid-table team. The last 2 games we played, Richarlison, nothing. Absolutely nothing, people. And then when we play these mid-table teams, everyone's like, oh, but Richie scored 9 in 9 against the Dross. This is the problem. Ange needs to stop playing these players. Stop it. Because whenever they play against the mid-table or top teams, we're going to have this. They can't.
I have
The play
to.
breaks up. The link-up play breaks up. Did you see Richarlison against Wolves? His link-up play, horrendous. The whole thing breaks down.
Can't
I
hold
have
the
to
ball,
say
no
this,
first touch, anything like that. But what I will say, still, sorry, Iggy.
He fell over taking a shot on the edge of the box, and the ball nearly killed someone in the south stand.
What I will say, and I agree about being able to criticize Ange, is we know how Dogi plays and we know how Porro plays. Ange sees Emerson and Davies in training every day. Surely he can't think that I want them to do exactly what Dogi and Porro does.
Exactly, Iggy.
He can't see that in training.
Exactly.
And if he's still playing them in those positions, asking them to do the same thing as those 2 guys do,
and surely, and JP, and surely he looks at Richarlison and thinks, "Oh, I can't not play Son there. I've got to play Son there." Surely, right?
Yeah.
And this is where
Unless
I see
somebody is saying to
echoes.
him-
I see echoes of the Jose and the Conte era and the Levyisms, right? Where it's almost like Levy's probably saying to him, "Oh, Ange, but we've got to play Richie. He's cost us 65 million quid.
And if we don't play him, we can't get anyone to buy him."
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
guys,
that's what I fear.
Maz, let me ask you a question, Maz. Let me ask you a question, right? Because this is what I was this is what I was debating with. There was someone on YouTube today who said it's Ange's fault because he needs to change his system to suit the players he's got. Right. This is now where let's take the debate down this direction. I'm going to lay it down for you guys, and we'll debate. The way I think is when you see Mourinho, everything he's done in his career, you've seen that as a chairman, as a football director, and you think, right, I'm going to scout you in, and I want you to replicate what I've seen you do, because that's what's caught my attention. Therefore, I've got to give you what you need to do it the way you've done it at these clubs. So if I don't give you that, then I can't expect you to repeat that. And our fans, they will moan that he needs to change his way. This is dinosaur football. Hold on a minute. Then if you don't want that, then why has he been brought in? To change the thing that you've scouted him do everywhere else. I'll apply the same to Ange. In Australia, in Japan, in Scotland, he's played like this. This is how he plays. We've scouted that. It's caught our attention. And we've said, right, we want you, what you've done in Australia, in Japan and Scotland, we want you to come to Tottenham Hotspur and do the same thing here. Do it here, right? And now we're saying, can you go free at the back? Can you not play a high line? Can you not do the thing that we've scouted you to come in and do? If fans want to say Ange needs to change to suit the players we've got, then go and scout a manager that changes to the players that he's got and has been successful doing that. That's not Ange, right? So that's how I see it. So I get a little tweak, but can I say he did tweak it? We went to a back three at one point. We went to one holding mid with Højbjerg and we changed the 2 wide players. He did tweak it. It still didn't work. So my question to you is this. Should Ange have to change his system to suit players when we've got injuries, or should he stick to his guns and it's down to the board to bring in the players that he needs and then we judge him?
I think he needs to be. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer because I've seen it done both ways, right? I think ultimately, as you said, you bring Ange in for his expertise and his winning system, right? Because that's what's made him successful elsewhere. Why would you come to I'm almost countering my own argument here, but I would say, why would you come to a different league, right, and change your system? The counter argument to that is, well, he's sticking to his guns, but there's calls for situations where he's seen enough of the players he has to think, right, actually, if I actually continue down this path for this game, we're going to lose this game, and we need to
In-game
win it.
management, Maz.
Yes, precisely, right? Therefore, I'm going to slightly change things up, right? Not break the whole thing apart, but slightly change things up to make sure that we win. I think that's what the elite managers do really well, right?
Can I push
Yeah,
back
but
on
the
that, Maz?
difference.
Can I
The
push
one
back on
difference
that?
is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still, hold
I'm
on.
not saying I'm correct.
Yeah, because against Everton, 2-1 up with 5 minutes to go plus extra time, he went defensive. Look what happened.
Yeah.
Against Wolverhampton Wanderers, we were chasing the game. He went to a back three. He only played one holding mid instead of two, and he changed the wide players, fresh legs, the pace merchants. Nothing changed. I think he does adapt. I'm not convinced he's got the tools to adapt.
Tools, yeah, it's the tools. When you've got the bench that we've got, apart from you look at that bench, right? Apart from we can say Bentancur, right? We still had the same old there, and I'm surprised he didn't bring Dragusin on for some point to shore up the defense, like you said. But that's the problem, and that's why I'm not going in on him too hard right now, because in-game management, I think, yeah, maybe he could move a little from what he does or try something different. I get that. But when you've got the players of the ilk that we've got on there at the moment, you can only do what you can do and hope that they can get something. And, it's... this is why I'm not going in on him too much this year. It's just wait and see.
No, I'm not going in on him. I just.
Yeah, you are. You hate him. Absolutely hate him.
No, but it's. I said at the start of the season, I want to wait until January before I call anything, right? And I've waited until January, and for me, nothing's changed at the club, and that's why I feel so negative. Because, and I'm a bit with Scott M here. It's easy to get seduced by playing attacking football, having all this positivity around, but when things start going bad, you start seeing the cracks and the same old Tottenham coming through, right? And for me, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a repetition of what's happened in the last 24 years, but happening even quicker with every successive manager that comes in.
Time frame gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah,
doesn't
and look, like I said, I love Ange. I want him to stay. I want him to get backed. I think he's the right man for Tottenham Hotspur at this point in time. I can see what he's building. But what I can't accept is, one, playing the players that let down all the other managers still, and then asking them to do even more than they were doing before and them doing it badly, right? And two, seeing the board they've backed him more than they have other managers, but they haven't really, because Dragusin, 30 million, can't get in the team, or is not getting in the team for whatever reason. We don't know the real reasons why it's not getting in the team or not. I don't think we'll ever know, but I wouldn't be surprised if something comes out in 2-3 months telling us why he's not in the team.
I know why, Maz. I know why. I don't. When we signed Van der Ven, right, we signed him, was it a few days, 5 days before the season started? And we all said, I wonder if he'll start him. Now he can't start him. He started. And we were like, whoa, right? That means he was ready. He was ready, right? I think we've signed a player that Ange doesn't think is ready. Another player who, was it one of you that coined the term, not oven ready? He's not oven ready.
It takes 6 months. Yeah, exactly. And this is what I mean. Turbo Wiener. Even and the more I think about it, even Ange said, "Oh well, if he was doing well, he wouldn't be costing us 16 million quid." And I think, well, why would someone say that? How would Wiener look at it? Sorry, I'm being facetious about his name, but how would Timo look at that interview and say, they only bought me because I'm 16 million quid? And there's managers. I think that's bad. Johnson, oh yeah, he's a good kid. He's a happy kid, But
Maz, interesting. Hold on. Did you on Johnson? Did you hear Ange's comment about him last week?
He was scared
after
to come
the other
on.
match.
Yeah,
no. He said his exact words were, "I never expected him to start so many games."
Yeah, well, there you go.
That tells me that he's never expected him to be a starter in that match. He's a off the bench kind of player.
Exactly, right?
50 million to sit on the bench when we're crying out for wings.
The level from Forest to Spurs is a big jump, right? And I would expect him to have been there for a bit, but we need a real person there for him to maybe come on in the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes and play that bit part and then grow into it. In a couple of years' time, he could be hitting that ground running, be the speed merchant that we want.
Another point as well, right? Andrew's coming in, it came into a situation, right? Harry Kane was leaving the club. There's no way we didn't know he was leaving. I think Harry Kane said, I'm going, right? They've had fucking 5 years to think about his bloody replacement, right? And the season he leaves, you've got no one lined up, right? No, again, what we said the last 4 years now, no planning, no succession plan, nothing. Our greatest ever striker leaves the club and we've got no one coming in to replace him. Unless Levy thinks Richarlison's that person to replace him. So then Levy's thrusting Richarlison onto Ange, right? And Ange can't then go out and say, I want Vlahovic or whatever, because Levy's going to go, I've got you a £65 million striker sitting there. What are you talking about?
Maybe that was his answer, Maz. I'm not a magician.
Yeah, you know, it's things just don't seem right to me.
Guys,
Lee.
Can we get into Andrew's comments? I want to bring up Andrew's comments. Quick super chat from Della Spurs. Big up, brother. Why do we see every manager hit a low with our squad? What does this say about the mentality to stall around this time every season? Spot on, brother. What does it say? Iggy, I want to... Let's remove this comment. Sorry, guys.
Just another quick one, Stel. Sorry, why it's on my mind.
Yeah.
We haven't even got a succession plan for Son. He's going to be, 31 or coming on to 32 soon? Or he'll be 31, right? Who's the next Son?
Turbo.
So not only have we lost Kane, Son's getting old. What are we going to do? Play him until he's 36 and hope he's still got his legs by then?
This summer for me is going to be very, 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 very telling as to what direction we're really going in.
Especially because we got more games, right? Because we're going to get into one of those European competitions. We're going to have more games. You got to take injuries into account.
We might do well in a cup as well.
It's not just heads, right? It's the level of player that we get.
Let me bring up the Ange comments, guys. Right, I'll read the first one and then we can discuss it. So after the game, he said, "We weren't great first half. We controlled the game enough. We controlled the game, but weren't threatening enough. Chasing the game is always difficult against a team that's so good on the counter-attack, and we were made to pay for it. Both goals are disappointing from our point of view. We paid the price for not being as concentrated or disciplined in our football." Iggy, when he says not concentrated and not disciplined, what do you think he's talking about?
Paying attention to detail, defensive frailties. I keep saying, I've said it earlier on. It's clear. It's clear that when you got to look at it this way, the last 5 games, 6 games, even Palace that we got at home, they've all been home games. I think we played 1 game away from home, and that's against Everton. So now teams have seen what is the most successful way we can set up tactically to get the most out of going to White Hart Lane from an opposing team. There were signs showing from the Brentford game and from the Brighton game that didn't quite go their way, but they were close. You just said it earlier on. Brentford were unlucky to lose. Brighton were unlucky to lose, or they were close to getting a point here and there. So they've looked at that and said, how can we set up? And they didn't. The problem that we are showing, look, as the saying goes, yeah, if you can't win a game, make sure you're not losing it. So for us, we need to cut out the defensive frailties, the getting caught sloppy, conceding really silly, like schoolboy goals. We need to cut that out of our game, and that is concentration. That is discipline. That's it's those fine details, man. It tells you where level you are, like mentally. You say, look, man, whilst we are trying to win games, which is the right thing to go about, and I don't have a problem with it, we have to take the naivety out from the way we defend. We defend so naively, man. Corners and set pieces, how we got conceded that second goal. That's what I'm annoyed about. I'm not annoyed about how things are going at Tottenham this season. I think in year 1 for Ange, I think it's really good. We are exactly where I expected us to be, so I'm not annoyed about that. And I said the target for this season has to be Europe. The only thing disappointed for our season, not where we, not because of the defeat at home. The thing that I'm disappointed about was going out of the cup so early on, particularly the Carabao Cup. Not so much losing to Man City at home in the FA Cup. That's the disappointing part that I think of the season. But for the rest of it, with the squad that we have, we are exactly where I expected us to be. So no, I'm not annoyed with Ange. I'm not annoyed with the players or the squad. Given what we have, I think we're doing all right in the league. But until we start eradicating these silly goals that we concede, and the average goals to a game, man, especially at home, it's quite bad. It's quite bad. And
I think we've got the worst defensive record.
And another thing, and I'll say
worst
this:
defense in the league.
I think people, and I've read a lot of comments. I've not done any videos in it because when we lose, I like to first analyze a little bit, rationalize my thinking before I try to give an overall view of what I thought of the game, how the game went. I think people are too reactionary, and I don't know if they do it for the likes and clicks and whatever, or they just us as a fans, how we absorb defeats like the whole world has collapsed on us. Listen, man, Saturday we dropped the bollocks. It's as simple as that. It happens. It happens where
Yeah, but no, Iggy,
we lose the game.
Iggy, do you know what it is?
I
Iggy,
just
it's like
think
what I said
that we
earlier.
use one game that we lose to really go into town on everything that's wrong at Spurs.
But that's
No,
not
no,
what we've
Iggy,
been
Iggy,
saying.
no,
That's
no.
not what
No,
we've
I'm not
been
talking
saying,
about
though,
you.
is
I'm
it?
not talking you. I'm just
No,
thinking
no,
as a fan base,
us.
we do that. As a
No,
fan
the
base.
fan base knew this was coming, but they haven't got the balls, like people like me, when I'm calling it out for weeks and weeks to say the performances aren't good. We're not playing well. And it's come back to bite us. And I think what it is the mini meltdown, let's call it a mini meltdown with our fan base, is because the reality of what they've been watching that they've refused to speak about has just happened. We've not been good. And I think that's what's hit them. Because like you said, wasn't it you at the start of the show, you said the honeymoon period is truly well and over now.
No, that was
you that
was
said
massive.
Maz. I think that's what it is. People have realised, that honeymoon in Barbados
But
was
still,
amazing, but I'm back
I mean,
in Edmonton now. It's
I
pissing down
don't
with rain.
think. Yeah,
I'm
but
going to get stabbed.
I think there's
You
an
know?
element of exaggeration. Yes, we haven't played well in the last 2, 3, 4 games. I can agree with that. I'm on board with that. But what I'm saying, when you say, I don't think things are really bad at Spurs in the course of what I've seen this season. I think we're having a decent season, man.
But there's warning signs, though, isn't there? There's warning signs.
There is, but that's stuff that we've got to improve on. That's personnel. It's like a business that's not going well because you're not quite up to scratch with the personnel in your business. You know you're not there.
But it's not getting better. It's getting worse. This is the issue.
That means you need to spend a little bit more, mate, on your personnel. You've done quite a bit with the personnel. You have spent money to improve your personnel, but you're not quite there with the level of the personnel that you require to hit the levels that you want to hit. It's a very simple maths.
Can I ask you a question?
What I would say, Iggy, really quickly, is the fact that I kind of agree with you, because I said at the start of the season, 8th and a foundation, right? But is it not fair to be able to change that expectation as you're doing well and then be frustrated because you've been in a good place and not kicked on?
JP still says we need 9-10 players. We bring Vicario, Van der Ven in, Madison. All right, we brought 4 or 5 players, and we need another 9. The job is not done.
Iggy, up
to
January,
9 after those players.
Yeah, I agree with Iggy. The job's not done. I agree.
Up till January, were we not doing really well?
Yeah, of course we were.
So
I think we stopped playing well after Chelsea, JP. After Chelsea, we stopped playing well.
Okay, I agree with that. Then comes an opportunity where the window opens, and we've got a chance to go in and get a few bits of quality players who can put the ball in the net.
Yeah, we didn't do it
because we shored up the defense to kick on.
Right. I agree.
And that's the frustrating piece as well.
JP, there was a combination of everything. A lot of injuries. We got hit in one area in defence. Then it moved up to the midfield. Then the AFCON. Then the Asian Cup.
We knew that going into January window. We knew that going into the January window.
We knew that.
The AFCON and the Asian Cup. The amount of injuries that we picked up, and Saturday you have to play with Davis and Emerson.
But going back to my point,
we are getting pissed off because we've lost at home to Wolves. I'm like, I don't understand that way of thinking.
Iggy, okay, I need to come in here. No.
Hold on. Yeah,
I'm
one
coming.
question.
I'm getting
But
pissed
one-
off
Let Lee go.
One
JP
question
finish.
to all of you. Would the conversation right now be as heated if the result that if the result was exactly the same, but the team was Aston Villa or Arsenal?
We lost to Villa.
True.
Is it not? Is it not? Oh no. Is it not? A lot of people getting frustrated because it was Wolves.
and they're in 11th spot.
Yeah, of course.
No.
But
No. I
but surely that's the
think so.
reality of football, Lee.
Not
If
for
you
me.
lose to
so.
better teams than you, you're not going to be as annoyed as if
But
you
but
lose
we're
to the
not.
lesser
But
teams.
I'm still of the opinion that given how Wolves have played this season, which they've been just as up as down as we have, we're on the same kind of level as them, as far as I'm concerned. I don't.
But
I think
Lee,
we're putting
the
ourselves on
problem-
too
we've
high
spent
a
200
pedestal.
million.
We
and
don't
they've
have
spent-
problems playing against Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. We don't have problems playing those teams because they play
you know why?
open
Yeah,
and expansive football.
exactly.
They come at us,
Exactly.
we go at them, and you get a fantastic game of football. What we are failing to deal with is teams that set up low block. They've copied and pasted other teams that successively come and got. Or we're close to getting points at White Hart Lane. We have had a successive, last 5 games? I think we've played all of them at home by 1 against Everton. We've got Palace at home. How do you think Palace are going to come over and set up? Do you think they're going to set up any different to Brentford, Wolves? We have to find a way to deal with those kind of teams that come to
Is that the
Tottenham
manager's
and set up in
responsibility?
that way. Of
Yeah,
course
but
it is.
Iggy, you're
course
arguing
it
against
is.
your own point,
With who?
right? Because right, but
but
this
you
is
need
this
to
is
cut-
my this is
There's
my
many
problem.
ways to
with-
skin a cat, right? Not just one way.
Absolutely, no, absolutely, right. Last year, right, when Conte was fourth and we were losing, were we not all complaining?
Yeah.
Right.
We was-
So what's different? What's different about it now? Because we're playing fancy football.
Entertained. Fans want to be
No,
entertained.
I'm
No.
asking you. I'm asking you.
You're asking
I
me.
think it's the football.
Yeah.
My
I think it's the football.
frustration is how naive we are defensively. You
Look,
can't.
weren't we
You
naive
can't
last
play.
season?
You can play attacking football, but just don't
Okay.
be so naive in
Okay,
neglecting
hold
the
on.
defensive side
Yeah.
of the game.
So let me address that point. Right? Were we not naive last season?
We were
and
shit
did we
last
not-
season.
Exactly. So why can't we
were-
complain?
We were shit with the players that we had. We didn't back our manager for what we brought him to do. What do we bring?
Right.
Can I ask you something?
Okay, no.
What did
but
we
hold
bring
on, Iggy,
Conte to
that-
do? What did we bring Mourinho to do? What have we brought Ange to do?
Iggy,
What have
Iggy,
we
let's-
brought to do?
Let's
That's the
take
first
it one
question we
point
need to
at
ask.
a time. Yeah, but Iggy,
We
let's
brought them
take it
in to
one point
appease
at
the
a time,
fans.
right?
Okay, right. Well, then we might as well fuck Ange off because we obviously.
Well, but
No,
Iggy,
no,
it's down
let-
to your
let-
point. I'm not going to right now because of the fact that it is 7 months into a plan, right? That's
What
the
is the
point. And I
saying
agree
is-
with you. I'm not upset at the moment. We are where we are, and I'm
What
happy
is the
that we're in
plan, though,
fifth
guys?
spot.
What's the plan? What's the plan?
No,
We need
I'm
3 or
trying
4
to
squad in the summer.
I'm trying to explain why fans are pissed off. Because when you draw parallels to the seasons that have happened before to what's happening now, fans like myself, right, I'm seeing the parallels and I'm thinking, hold on, something is not right. Right? That's why fans can turn quickly. Because
And where's
you-
the
you've got
fans'
to
anger
remember-
directed at?
Well,
Can I say
we
this?
know what our fan
Fans.
base is like. We
Well,
know
no,
what
no.
our fan base is
Wait,
I'm
like.
asking,
Conte-
where's the fans'
Wait,
where's
Iggy,
the fans' anger
wait,
directed at?
Iggy, when
One at a
Conte
time.
got top 4 and got us the Champions League, back in my mind, I said, this blessing is going to become a curse. And I think the first 10 games, it goes back to it, that we started off so well was a blessing, but it was really a curse because it changed the fan base's expectations. Whereas everybody came in and say, hey, we'll be easy on Ange because it's his first year and whatsoever in the process, because we're year 1 in the process. We'll be people were saying, like I said, oh, we'll be happy 9th, 10th, 8th. The problem is those first 10 games. We saw those first 10 games. We thought that we had a set 11. There were people that said our set 11 could go toe to toe with City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. And in back of my mind, I'm like, whoa, we're jumping the gun here. We're going a bit too early. And now we're seeing the football that we're seeing. but those were the ups and downs that I expected to see this season. I expected to see those ups and downs because we have a lot of changes that we need to do on this team, right? People say we're 1 or 2 or 3 players away. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're 6 minimum that we need, let alone the first 11, other than maybe Sonny and Vicario and Ramiro. There's not people who are like set, and VDV, like who are set starters going into next season, you know? And so I think, like I said, those first 10 games really got people spoiled, really got people way too excited. And now that they see the struggle that we expected to see, now they're just going ape shit crazy. Aaron
On
Jordan and all
who?
this stuff.
On what? This is my question now. I'll ask it again. Who are fans angry with, and what are they angry about?
Iggy, I'll tell you. Some fans are angry with the owners because they haven't done enough in the January window, and they've allowed this situation to build up over the last 5 years. This is a consequence of the last 5 years. Some fans, they're angry with Ange. Like you can see, Ange out has started. In the stadium, there was a lot of moans and groans towards Ange. I heard it. And even as I was walking out the stadium, there's a couple of people saying, I'm not sure about this Ange. Some fans are angry with certain players. They think that certain players are to blame. So again, just like some fans want trophies, some want a journey, some want to be entertained. To answer your question, some fans blame Ange, some blame Levy, some blame players. We're split on where the blame is. We're split. This is what we do.
And
We're
I
very
blame
split in
Levy.
fan base. You blame
All
Levy.
of my, and I've always been like that, right? I'm not excited. I'm not, like I said, I really like Ange. I don't want him to leave. I said the same thing about Conte, Jose, right? All that sort of stuff, right? But I can't be excited about the Tottenham I'm seeing now because I know that the same things that are happening because of Levy, and I can see the signs already. That's why I'm really pissed off because I could.
So you're seeing the
tell you-
same pattern forming because of Levy rather than what the managers are doing.
I'll
But
tell you
fans
what
will-
set me off, Iggy.
But some fans will
What
always
set
blame the
me off?
manager because they think
What
he's been
set me
back.
off? What
he's got
got
enough
me really
do
upset,
the job.
right? And which is why I went on Saturday night show, and which is why I am like I am today. Is when I saw Angie's comments, I was like, he's gone, because I've seen this before, right? I can't understand how you can have the perfect press conferences, say the perfect things for 6 or 7 months, and then the last 2 interviews he's done, it's like he's given up in his persona. I'm not saying he has. I'm just saying
It could have
in
just
his.
had a bad day. He could have just been pissed off.
It might be. It might be. But as a
You
an
felt let down
abused,
by the sounds of it. You felt a little bit let down by his comments.
as an abused fan by the Levyisms of the last 24 years, right? When I see things like that, I get upset. You know.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough.
Let me read this super chat very quickly. Matt Coppin, one of our own, says, hoping Ange is
Big up,
ruthless in the summer. 7 outgoings. Matt, I totally agree. I want to get back actually to the rest of Ange's comments. Mari, let me bring you in now. Let's go to the second part of his comments. So he goes on to say, it wasn't through the lack of effort. We had them camped in their half, and then they break and score the goal. You can't keep coming from behind and doing that every week. We need to be better in the first half. We have had injuries all year and certainly performed better than that. So he's stating the obvious there. What do you make of it?
I say he's the manager, and so I say yes and no, right? Because we know injuries are a part of the game. It's going to happen, and like I said, going back to the first 10 games, right? The first 10 games were like utopia, and for our team. But as suspensions and injuries come, these things are going to affect. It's affected every club in the league. The one thing I will say this is the first half performances. It has been atrocious. And it comes down to the players of what is going on with our midfield. I mean, Madison's 2-3 games in, right? He should be on form, right? Bentancur is a little bit more difficult. Basuma. What's happened to Basuma? Has he lost his confidence after those first 10 games, after the Chelsea game? What is going on? Where is the consistency? We don't see it. And so, his comments, does have a point, but it comes expected. And especially now, because we're talking about now, when you have the additions, right? The additions you proved, right? Johnson, Timo Werner, and it does seem that they're working out, right? Because it seems that we have the possession, right? We have possession, but but we're not clinical. We're just not clinical because it's just not good enough. So it's just his comment is true, but there's also holes in his statement, I would say.
Yeah, Mari, you made a really good point there, bro. Right? He said all the signings are his, right? No one comes in without him saying yes, right?
Yeah.
There's another doubt. You're telling me Turbo Wiener is his boy, Johnson is his boy, right? Is that what we're saying? Dragusin is his boy. He's not even playing him.
Do you know what? Maz makes a great point here. Like even I said, and I can't suddenly start lying. Even I said when Ange made those comments when he did, I'm the one that proves the signings. I did say back then he's being a yes man, and I don't believe what he's saying. But by doing that, you've now built a rod for your back. You need to own those comments. I think he's kind of dug himself into a bit of a hole because maybe he has realised actually I can't do it with these players.
He has to own it. He came out and said it. He seriously has to own that. Whether he regrets it now or not, who knows? But
JP, go on, Lee. I want JP to do the next section of the comments, but yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say on that comment, it sounded like to me what my expectations are is that we come flying out the blocks in the first half, absolutely batter a team as much as we can. Then when we do drop a goal or something, it doesn't really matter. Whereas what I saw was a really slow, not really pacey team coming out in the first half against Wolves and not doing it. And but to me, if that's not his game plan, and his game plan is to come out the fence flying, that's down to him. He needs to get those players to get the message out on the pitch, move that ball quicker, move it through the lines quicker. So there is a bit of blame to be led on him in game management.
I hear that though, Lee. After every game, I do hear people who sit on that side keep saying, all you can hear from Ange is quicker, faster, give it to him, play it. But they're obviously not doing that.
No, it wasn't. It was boring. The first half was boring as hell. We might have had possession, but it was boring as hell.
And it's another manager who the players are not listening to. Like we had it with Jose. Oh, I don't tell the players to drop back. Yet they're camped on the edge of our penalty area.
Don't you think it's funny when Poch was manager, we criticised his game management for certain substitutions he made in big games. When Mourinho was manager, we criticised his game management for the way he treated players. When Conte was manager, we criticised his game management for being stubborn and not reverting away from a back three. Now Ange's manager, guess what we're doing? We're criticising his in-game management. Are all these managers like just very bad when they come to Spurs and like they do quite well everywhere else?
No. Yeah. My point is though still.
Yes, that's it. Done. We're done.
Oh no, hold on. My point is though, and this is what we were trying to say. The 10 games in, we didn't play like that.
No, we
didn't play like that, right? We were passing it around fast, but against the Wolves game, we just seemed to do it, with our foot off the gas, and it doesn't work when you do it slow because it's easy for the team to set up. That's my point.
Lee, do you know what I think as well? I think some of our players have just not found that form, like the players that make the differences in our team, like Madders, like Benton.
That first 11 have to be on.
Yeah, Bissouma hasn't quite been the same. I'm not sure what's going on with him.
You look at Madders. I don't necessarily blame Madders though, Iggy. Because he's supposed to be our number 10. You look at how many times he had to drop back almost in our own half to gather the ball. He shouldn't be doing that. Those guys should be transitioning the ball to him.
Guess who else used to do that? Harry Kane.
Yeah,
well,
but
that was
yeah,
that was last year though.
but that
He,
was
he
like,
had
you know,
no choice.
you look at like players like Bissouma. I know, like, for all the criticism that Kulusevski gets, he's always involved in creating opportunities, assists, and now he's chipping in with goals as well. So those players that are meant to be making a difference for us are not quite making it. So we can't then rely on those average ones that we have got. So it becomes and Son's come back from the Asian game, and he's Son is always Son, but he hasn't quite, you know, got into the Premier League. You know, since he's been back from South Africa.
I don't know. He came on and gave.
No, he's a sub of the first game.
Assist,
Yeah, he made an impact, but it just seems something's not gelling at the moment. You know, that's all it feels
because he's
like.
turfed out on that left.
Yeah, it just feels like something's not quite clicking, and I'm not quite sure if it's just like a dip of form. But look, we've been getting results, and I think it's just all I'm trying to get at, guys. It's just taking us one defeat, albeit a bad one, at home to Wolves.
It's been coming though.
Really
We saw it coming though. We saw it coming. That was the thing though.
Okay, but other clubs, you know,
were you shocked we lost? Were you shocked? Were you like,
no. Listen, I said there was a lot of frantic football. I said it earlier on. There's a lot of frantic football. It's like this forcing passes, and it's just there's no like. I don't feel like we're ever in control of the game. It's just almost like forcing the issues. And I don't know, man, if the two fullbacks were, of course they're going to be a big loss. I just don't feel like when our plan A doesn't go into fruition, there is no real fallback plan. There really isn't, and that's something probably we need to work on. Oh, that's all.
I was going to say the only thing that shocked me about that Wolves game, if I'm honest, is that Neto didn't have I know he had the impact for that goal, but I'm surprised he didn't have a bigger impact over the whole game. I was expecting him to put a masterclass on and put himself in a shop window for us in the summer. I don't think he had. He had a good game, but he didn't have as many. You know, if you think back about that game, you think, well, how many times did I see Neto do this, Neto do that? He didn't, and I think that's because he was camped back with the rest of them. But it only takes one chance, a player like that can completely make the difference.
I just want to move on to the next part of his comments. Just two things before I do that, though, very quickly. First of all, to TA29, who says to us, I've never seen a room full of managers arguing with themselves and no real idea of what they're talking about. If we don't know what we're talking about, why are you watching? Very strange. The next thing I want to say is a massive, massive thank you to all of you, because we've got over 400 people watching, guys. The channel's grown thousands over the last couple of weeks. And even on Saturday, our live show, we had, I think, 7,000 views. Guys, honestly, thank you so much for following the channel. Like, subscribe, and always engage. We try and put as many of your comments up because we value everyone's opinion on our channel. We will always keep it real as much as we can. So big up to every single person. JP, and in the press conference, he also said, got to make sure we're ready for the next game. We'll use these next 2 weeks to make sure we're ready. I'm not a magician. I'm a football manager. We're trying to be the best possible team we can and progress this year to build something that doesn't change. We keep going. I just want to say, when he said, I'm not a magician, I'm a football manager, that was in reference to when someone says, is there something with the mentality or the mindset of when defending? And his response to that was, I'm a football manager, not a magician. Let's home in on that bit, guys. In fact, yeah, let's just do that bit. JP, you go first. When he was talking about our mentality and the mindset, and he said, I'm a football manager, not a magician. Comments like that are alarm bells for fans like Maz, right? How did you take that? Because that can be taken two ways. It's either a bit of just, let me just avoid this question, or do you know what? He's doing that cryptic talk that Poch did and Mourinho did, and that's worrying if that is the case. You're muted.
You're mute.
You're doing an Alex THFC, which was quite funny on Saturday. Your mic's gone, JP.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yeah.
I'm not a manager. I'm a coach, right? That's kind of like that. I'm like that kind of thing. I think he is trying to get in their minds as much as possible, because that right now, that's all he can do, right? I think he does feel a bit let down. He feels probably does look. He certainly looks exhausted. And it's a case of like, look, we do all of this stuff on the training pitch. They know what to do, how to do it, when to do it. I'm assuming, because I'm not there, but when they go out, is it the fact that their minds just switch off? So there's only a certain amount of things that he can do in terms of speaking to them and coaching them, and that's part of his football manager's role, right? But getting in their heads and making them be able to read the game slightly better or see what happens in play. If there's two of the opposition in front of your goalkeeper, don't just stand there. If I can go and get involved in that as well. I think that's what he's trying to say. It was cryptic, and when I first heard it, I didn't hear the context of it, and I was probably like Maz thinking, "Oh God, here we go."
There's
He's
certain
already
words
given,
that there's
he's
certain
already
words
giving
amongst
messages.
the Spurs fans like PTSD.
He's
You know, it's like
he's giving messages,
as soon as
but
you hear it, what? So you're off
no,
again. It's
no,
just
but
words, man.
in a way, he's also giving messages, isn't he? Because literally, what he could also be saying is the fact that I have
Done
a
it.
Dogie. You've seen my style of football for the first 10 games. I have a Dogie who does that. I have Porro who does that. If any of them get injured, I've got these two guys. I'm not a magician to make them do what I want them to do, right? This is what I've got.
Yeah, but
The
why
thing is, I have
say
to
that?
say that why select them?
Yeah,
Why
yeah, but
select
why
them, man?
say
That
that?
part
That's the
has
problem.
still.
That
If you had said to me,
and that
I'm going to play him centre and play VDV left back, I would have understood that. I wouldn't have said, "Oh, come on, man! Why'd you take VDV out of centre backs and not play Davis and Emerson?" Who would have said
and
play
that's
Emerson and Davis
that's
if he
what I
had
said
gone in the
earlier,
other
Iggy.
option?
That's exactly what I said earlier in
Big up,
terms of being
Cooper.
able to criticize him, right? Because you have to be able to criticize him because he sees them every day. What does he see in them every day that says, I want you to play Adogi's role and I want you to play Poro's role? It doesn't make sense why he's playing them in those roles. But is it a statement again, like Conte kind of like almost did, is by saying,
This is
this
what
is
I've
the
got.
style of football we want to play. This is the style of football you guys liked for the first 10 games. When I had the team, the first team, when they were all clicking, when they were all playing, that's what we can do,
And
right?
what happened? And what happened with Wolves? They went down our wings as soon as they saw those fullbacks. I thought, right, that's where we need to get at them. Neto,
It's,
do your thing.
but again, it's not easy. And I know we were talking about that earlier by saying teams are working us out, right? Man City did that corner thing. Suddenly, for the next 2 games, teams were doing that, like on us.
Well, Palace are going to do the same thing as Wolves.
Conceding from set plays. Teams know what to do. Put the ball in the air. Are we likely to get in front of it? Probably not.
By
That's
the
why
way,
we got
Vicario
Ferguson in, right?
again, one
Ferguson's
of our
really good with his head.
the goalkeeper again, one of our better performers on Saturday. He bailed us out in a couple of situations. Again, this is what I'm saying. Like, apart from the goals that we can, this is a guy that's playing some of the best football. I mean, he's been one
In the
of our
first
best
10 games.
performers. He's,
In the first
he's
10 games.
like a goalkeeper has been one of our best players in every single game. I don't remember a lot of games where he had a really poor game. Or
If
he's
he doesn't
always
get
up
player of
there.
the season, it'll be an absolute travesty.
Like
Because he's
he's
kept us in matches.
been in our top 3 performance every game. He's making at least 2 important saves a game, like in key moments, and yet he's sitting at home having conceded 2 or 3 goals. It's incredible, man.
Iggy, do you think this is a deliberate ploy by the club to impose this style of play that invites these insane counterattacks where Vicario is having to show how good he is and Van der Ven how good they are, so that in 2 years' time we can sell them both for like £200 million? We're just trying to raise their market value.
Mate,
Do you think
honestly, I think their market value has definitely gone up. These 2 guys, if we don't really up our game, and you know what I mean when I say that, mate, they won't be at the club that long because they are that good. They are that good. You know, 2 of our better performers in our team, and listen, honestly, I don't see the Vicario that I've seen this season. I don't see him inferior to any other goalkeepers that are playing in the top 2-3 teams. And Van der Ven, I put him up there. So why wouldn't they be looking elsewhere if the offer were to come for them. You know, we have to make sure that. But this is it. We have to make sure that we keep the best players and add to the quality of those
Winning
players.
trophies is the only way. Only winning
What,
trophies.
you mean like when we had
players.
Kane and Son and we didn't capitalize on it?
Yeah, again, this has been probably the pivotal point of the whole tonight's conversation. This is what I'm saying. Who are the fans angry at? Who we're directing it at? Because otherwise, we're just going to see history repeating themselves, and we always do the one thing, and that is turn on the managers. We always turn on the managers.
See, but I'm not turning
Harry
on the
Gay
manager.
Council.
No, I'm not saying
I
you are,
blame-
Maz. I'm saying
No.
as a fan base, we turn on the managers.
Iggy, I blame
when
at
the
the end of
problems
the
are
day.
elsewhere.
At the end of the day, I blame Haringey Council. The day they gave us planning permission for this stadium, right? That was the catalyst. Believe you me, Haringey Council.
Root cause analysis there still.
they got a free skywalk, man.
We've got a couple of super chats. Iggy, you take the first one. Big up to Gambling. He says, if we got Europe, which is one game a week, well, including the Premier League games, of course, injuries are more likely. So why not keep Ben Davies as backup? He's better than Emerson Royale in an emergency. He does a job. Iggy, I can't answer this. That's why I've given it to you. I just can't answer it. I can't.
What's the name? Gambling. Thank you first and foremost for the donation, guys. Listen, we need to improve our squad. We need to better our squad because the level of competition for those top four, let alone challenging for the league, will only increase once Man United and Chelsea, and I'm going to probably put Newcastle into it, Brighton. That competition for the top four places will increase as of next season. So if we don't start putting things in place now to better our squad, to make it a lot more stronger, and that means clearing Emerson and Davis. We thank them for what they've done to this point, but we need to do more. And by doing more means that we need to better our squad in every position, including fullbacks, because we saw the drop off when Poro and Udogie are not there, and you put Davis and Emerson. It's just not quite there. We need to up their level, and yeah, I think that settling essentially, even in the comment how you put it, why don't we just keep him in the squad? Davis, it's settling. We should demand more. Yeah, it's also you need to move it on a little bit, man. I think after 4 or 5 years, every 4 seasons maximum, players should move on. You shouldn't have players on at 9, 10, 11, 12 seasons unless their performance are up there amongst the best that we have in the entire squad. Got to move them on.
We've got another super chat here from Gabriel Marshall. Thank you so much. Who says, was asked if he has, so this is about Ange. Ange was asked if he has any tricks, hence why the magician comment. I think was, do you have any tricks to fix the mentality of the defense in that? So it was, but thank you for clarifying that.
Sometimes it's context, isn't it? It's context of what the response is. What question was he answering when you hear this kind of stuff?
So, Lee, Ange also said regarding the slow start to the game, that's been the last couple of home games, not doing anything different. Sometimes mindset going in, sometimes it's your position, sometimes context of the game. But for us to dominate games like want to does mean we need to start more aggressively and put the opposition on the back foot. So look, I think the positive to take away from this is he does recognize what we see as well. So, he can see that we're not starting quick. We're not aggressive enough. We are letting in too many goals. How do you take it when he says that?
I don't. Well, this is the thing. I don't really get the comment. That's the whole point, right? We said that these quick starts and the quick moving the ball around and stuff like that just wasn't there. We were so slow out the back, and it's not even though that I recognised that Wolves were being overly pressing us. I was looking at it thinking, they're not pressing us. They are pressing us, but not in the same kind of fashion as some of the teams have done. And it's almost like we're looking at that and going, well, because they're not pressing us so hard, we don't move it around as quick enough. And that's where the slow start comes from. And I I don't know. Maybe it is a mentality thing because, as you say, JP, if you see him on the sidelines and he's going quicker, move it faster, and they're not doing it, then is it an issue with the players? Are they the ones to blame here? I don't know. It's a bit of a strange one. I mean, at least the fact that he recognises it means, well, if you recognised it, do something about it. So maybe if you tried, it was down to the players, right?
It's kind of enough games. That's happened enough times now for them to sit and watch a video and go through it in the next training session before the next game, right?
Listen, the level of accountability for the players has to always be in as well. You know, we can say the manager, we can say whatever we want. At the end of the day, the players are the one that go, you know, across. So if there's these things that's highlighted by Postecoglou, evidencing that we did not put the performances in the team. So
the weird thing is, I kind of do feel that we start like I think I said we tend to start off all right, first 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and then suddenly go in a lull. And I don't know if they just burned themselves out in those first 8-10 minutes, but
I think we just have a problem breaking teams down when they've got so many men behind the ball. I generally think that we have a problem breaking them down, and I honestly believe, and maybe that's the one thing where you guys at the moment been going to a home game every week. We're not seeing home and away. We're not seeing Spurs play away a lot. Like I said, the last 5 games they've played away once. So every home game has been the same story as the previous one because the teams that are coming over know how to set up because they've seen the team.
Brighton didn't sit back. Right,
but yeah, Brighton by nature are more expansive than because
they play better than us.
But we should learn from that, though, Iggy, right?
Yeah. I listen. I think away from home, you're not going to get it. When we play away from home, you're going to have to play teams that are a little bit more open. And secondly, I think the head-to-head, the top teams, I don't think we'll have a problem playing them either.
But still, Brentford is the prime example, right? Yeah. So Brentford came with a game plan in the first half.
Yeah,
they sat back
as well.
Yeah, they sat back. We can, break them down just like normal. They came out in the second half, changed their game plan, opened it up, and all of a sudden, boom, 5 minutes, and we've absolutely smashed them. Exposed exact system. It exactly exposed
I don't know what honestly, to this day, Lee, I don't know what the thinking between the first half and second half was. What they must have gone in at half time for.
They stopped pressing the keeper.
Yeah, no. They just came out at different sides and they just went forward. And I don't know. Maybe they thought, you know what? Let's go at them because I don't think they're that good, and they got found out. And I think somebody, like all the other teams, must have watched that Brentford through. I thought, why did they do this in the first half where it worked so well? And second half, they did that. No, the first half tactics is the one to go to White Lane with. And that's what everyone's doing now. And like I said, if you go to the Palace game at home, you're going to see a similar sort of game because Palace are not going to engage. They're not going to engage.
They're going to have the new manager bounce as well.
Questions have to be asked, Diggy, right? That's where questions have to be asked. Because if it's not working against Brentford, it's not working, you try exactly the same thing against the next team. Then try exactly the same thing against Wolves, and then we go to Crystal Palace and do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, but JP, there's only one way. The only one way to do it if you bait a team to come onto you. Spurs have to bait the team to come onto us to then really go and hurt them.
Open up the space.
Yeah, you have to bait them. It's like a boxer. You're baiting them with your jab to really strike them. If you're constantly trying to punch, give it to the right, you're not going to get anywhere. So you have to bait a team sometimes. Sometimes you have to get the team to play the game that you want to play rather than falling into the trap to the game plan that they want you to play. It's a game of chess sometimes.
Agree.
It's a game of chess.
Agree. And that's the frustration that you can have towards Ange by saying, well, why aren't you doing that? Even in game.
Because we only really have one game plan. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's a bit naive like that.
And that's what I mean. That's where I think it's fair to not criticize him, but question him or question what's going on there because they're not really doing that.
Jose only had one plan. Conte only had one plan.
No. Still, all I'm trying to say is that when when you have your position, they've sussed you
Yeah, but
out.
we like this
They
one.
know like what. Okay, still, I come as an away team. I know how to set up. I've seen other teams set up against you. You're going to come at it trying to go for the jugulars. I'm going to set up low block and try and catch you in the counter attack. Now, you as the home team have to try and unblock my tactic, not me trying to unblock yours. I'm fine with it.
But
If I get
you see a low block, right? There's only 3 ways you beat it. One, you move the ball so quickly in the box, you eventually pull a player or two out of position, then you attack that space. But you need very technically gifted 1-2 touch players whose the first touch is key.
Which we don't
Do
have.
we do we have that in abundance? I would say no. The other way you do it is you shoot from distance, which we don't do, right? Which you could say, right, that needs to be done more. And the other way you do it is, I forgot the third way. So yeah, the third way you do it is you have players that can take on a man. So solo effort. Is that not how Kulusevski scored? Yes, it is. So Kulu, Maddison, for me, maybe Son are the only ones that can do it. Maddison wasn't doing it enough. Son wasn't doing enough. Kulu did do it. He took the ball off Richarlison, went round the play, and that made the goalie. So they're the only 3 ways. Do we have enough dribblers at Spurs? No. Do we have enough players that can technically move the ball at pace with accuracy when it's congested? No. Do we have enough players that can shoot from distance? Yes. So if I was Ange and we're up against a low block again, I would say, guys, the best chance we've got, let's practice long-range shooting. I think that's the only way we're going to beat it.
Also,
Otherwise,
try
I
and
don't
score
think...
in the first 10, 15 minutes where it knocks their game plan completely out of the window.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
The longer that game plan goes, the more it's going to go in their favour.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
even if we know we've got Richie in the middle, why aren't we getting down the lines and putting crosses in?
Well, again, no, that's a great question.
Because that's not a tapping.
Other than Porro, yeah, we're tapping. Was it Tappingham Hotspur? Tappingham. Yeah, but the thing is, then JP, other than Pedro Porro, who's really a high quality crosser of the ball in this team?
Son.
So there's the next problem. Son, I think Son's better on the ground than in the air crosses.
Perisic was the only one that we had like that.
So we've got that problem.
Even if we have flappy ones, they create something, don't they? They create deflections.
Porro probably is the only.
But JP, we do that all the time, and we end up having 16 shots on goal. But the reality is, they're all sort of low crosses into the box where there's 4 players around Richarlison, and he hits it into them, and that counts as a shot at goal.
I'll hold my hands up and say, yeah, you're kind of like, you're right, but that's surely something different to just trying to play that intricate ball through the middle and just doing that for the whole game against Wolves. That's all we try to do.
He looks the same to me, if I'm honest. That intricate passing always ends up on the left or right hand side of the penalty box where they're trying to cross it in for a tap-in. It's not going down, hugging the byline, going down
we're not splitting them open, are we? No,
yeah,
we're not splitting them
doing
open.
A proper crossing, is it?
But isn't that also the way we play with our fullbacks, with the inverted fullbacks, that we don't really have the outlet unless the wingers are really touching the touchline. But you got one left-footed on the right-hand side that looks to cut in, is not really looking to go on the outside unless the fullbacks inverted fullback.
And that's where the other teams have sussed us out there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they know that we have the inverted fullbacks congesting the middle. They know that our wingers are inverted as well, right? So they can't cross a ball. So what they do is they pack the center of the box out and the midfield, right? And we don't do anything. We're stuck.
I want to do this quick super chat. Gambling says Spurs problem, inconsistency. Fix that and we win. Thank you so much, Gambling, for the super chat. There's one more subject I want to do and we'll cover, and then we'll wrap it up for the night. And that is, look, I'm not going to go through it all, but Steve Perryman has come out and said, I don't trust the newspapers or social media. I don't usually agree with the pundits. I'm not on the firm, nose in the trough, or a toe the line man. I do trust my experience, eyes, and football brain. I was taught by Bill Nick and Keith Berkhamshaw, and I realise how patience can bear fruit, as proven by players like Shivers, Bale, and Harry Kane, with the danger of instant judgment and hindsight. So what he's basically saying is, guys, I'm experienced. I've been taught by the best. Be patient. I'm not a lover of football chairmen making football decisions, but I also realise that decisions need to be paid for and balanced. If Daniel Levy decided on appointing Ange, then very well done to him. I do, and in capital letters, trust Ange and what he stands for, having learned his trade elsewhere, as did Alex Ferguson, as did Arsene Wenger. Now, he's basically come out saying, get behind the manager, right? This is our guy. Big words from a big player, and he's backed it up with his name dropped, Keith Berkhamshaw, he's name dropped Bill Nick to add clout to what he's saying, right? So he's clearly sensing online, Ange out is beginning, fans moaning about the style, naivety, and he's come out saying, no, shut up, chill, listen to me, I've got experience. So my question to you guys is, has it really changed at Spurs, right? And I'm talking about Conte got us top 4, Mourinho got us to a cup final, Poch obviously had a lot longer, title charges, Champions League finals. Maybe this isn't a fair comparison because he was here longer. Is Ange any different to what we've seen before? And bear in mind, wrong one. Bear in mind, Conte's toxic, get him out of the club. He had 45 points this stage last season. Ange Ball, revolutionary. We've got our Tottenham back. He's got 2 more points than Conte. So when you take what Perryman's saying, guys, let's get behind this, relax. But then you look at what the others have done. Why is Perryman saying, back this man, trust me, I'm one of your own, I know what I'm talking about, back Ange, but yet he hasn't been any different to the previous managers if we look at performance and results. What do you make of that?
I think you need to look at it from a perspective of, this is Ange Alpha version 1, right? This isn't the final, outcome of his tenure. So I think well, as we said, I think the biggest tell is what happens this summer. He's had, first part of summer, he's had January, which I think is always hard to get in players anyway because inflated prices. I think he's saying basically just wait. You can't pass judgment right now. You need to give him the time. I personally think, as you said earlier, Sal, after the signings in the summer, he's taken that on the chin, but there weren't really his signings. Don't turn on him now. You haven't given him long enough, and I think he sees that he can see what Ange is trying to do, but he doesn't have the tools to fully implement it right now. And that's it, basically, for me. That's why I'm like with Iggy. My expectations are not massively high this year. They are where they are. We're doing well at the moment. Yeah, we've got upset because we lost to Wolves, but I think we are where we are where he expected us to be, or maybe a little bit better. But
I think in terms of different to other managers, what I would say is that whatever the atmosphere was before, however the fans were feeling, the flavor, the mood, in those first 10 games, he's pretty much changed that all around, right? He did get everyone kind of almost singing on the same hymn sheet. There was a little bit of, it looked like there was happiness between the players. They were all, we'll run through this and kind of like, we'll do that. The football at that time, and we all know it's a long season or whatever, but the start of it, there was an uplift, right? And it seemed to be heading in the right direction. Everyone was saying, oh, Ange is, he's a media person. He's good with the people who kind of do interviews with him after the game, Sky Sports, whatever. He was happy, jolly, like we were all on a bit of a high. Or it could be Champions League. There were people talking about winning the league. Andrew's coming out saying, do you know what? Fans are fans, right? Let them believe. Let them go for it. Don't hold them back and stuff. So he pretty much changed the way everyone was feeling about the club, which is a difference in a way, because Conte did exactly the same thing in that first half season he came. I'll admit that. And obviously finishing in top 4 and all of that created a fantastic atmosphere, which was then totally deflated by the transfer window.
So JP, so is it any different? It's my point. Has anything changed? Because what you've just described about Conte, well, it hasn't. Because if we judge the first 6 months of Conte, is it different to the 6 months of Ange? I'd say no. The first 6 months of Mourinho, we were top of the league going into Christmas, top of the league.
Record wins or something, was that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Guys, has anything changed at Tottenham? In your eyes, like, put aside all these young generational Messis that we've signed that in the next couple of years they're going to be the next superstars, right? That's got us all hyped. We haven't seen any of them. Put aside a decent summer transfer window. When you just take a step back, right? Look at how we're playing. Look at the quality of the squad. Look at the domestic cups. Look at our league position. Is it any different to the managers I just listed over the last 5 years?
For me, and I think I've always been consistent at this from the start of the season, is I haven't seen anything change yet, and I'm not convinced that things have changed. The only thing I think that has changed, which is I believe is a positive, is Ange has managed to persuade them that we do need to shift out a lot of our dead wood and bring in players to replace them. Which, in fairness, he has done that. Dyer's gone, and a few of the others. So from that perspective, I'm pretty pleased from that. But
Maz, I agree with you.
Nothing.
I agree with you. But in terms, I know nothing has changed right now, and I agree with you. But that doesn't happen overnight. That's my point.
I'm not saying it should, though, right?
No.
I can only judge.
I agree.
I can't predict in the future, can I?
No, exactly. But worrying the fact that nothing has changed, we're all expecting that it has changed behind the scenes. We haven't just got to the point to show, bearing fruit, and I don't think that's going to happen till next summer. That's why I'm not too overly worried this season.
I'm not worried. I'm just frustrated.
Well, if you ever need to chat, you know where I am.
I know. Thank you.
What the hell? Quick super chat here from Verbatim, who says Steve Perriman obviously sees something. Trust a legend. That's some feedback there. Was that Maury?
Sorry, guys. I had to step away. It was important.
It's all right. Your mic volume went up about 10,000 decibels as well.
Very loud, Mr. Maury.
What do the rest of you make of Steve Perriman's comments and relate that to what has been going on the last 4 or 5 years with previous managers? Has anything changed? Like Maz said, I can't predict the future. Just up to now, has anything changed in your eyes, guys? Do you feel a change is in the motions?
I'm going to go first before I shoot off, guys. I'm going to say this, that I'm not totally... there's been something, with the players that we signed. We tried to get the business done early on to try and get the manager, as much as we could in the 2 transfers. To really weigh out, I have to see how this season, how it ends, and what we do in the summer. I think we'll witness pretty similar page with that. I'm not completely sold in where the board are ambition wise. If they still have that ambition, or if anything's changed on that front, I'm still yet to be won over. But we have to give them the time to do that. I think what Steve Perriman is trying to say is maybe he sensed that the vibe of the whole Spurs ambience, and he's just telling everyone just to calm down a little bit. I do feel that comment about Daniel Levy, about he appointed Ange. Well done for that. I think that's almost like between the teeth compliment towards Daniel Levy. I think he's where we're at with regarding him. But he's also trying to say, like, give the guy a chance. And you know what? I am going to give Ange a chance. I will carry on supporting him. I'm not Ange, and I think anyone saying Ange is completely and utter off their trolley. 6 months into the job. I don't think it's fair for any manager after 6 months to be saying Ange out. He hasn't done that bad of a job that he deserves an hashtag Ange out. I think it's really, really unfair. We are exactly where I expected us to be this time of the season. And like I said, and I think if he gets Europe in his first year, given how we ended things last year, I think he would have had a good season. Sure, is that the be all end all? No, we have to certainly improve on that. But for me, Europe is the target. If it's Champions League football, all the better. I think he would have done the maximum for this season with this current squad. So we have to let the season play out. In regards to any feelings, listen, Stoll, I haven't gone to a single game at White Lane this season. That tells you exactly where I am as to whether do I believe anything has changed. Because the reason why I stopped going is because I don't believe that anything had changed. So this is not a reflection on the players nor the manager. I have to state that this goes beyond them, and I'm still yet to be brought over about the rest of the Tottenham world before I step foot into the stadium again.
I think for me, where I'm at with it is, I think some things have changed, but some things have not. For example, I think we are quicker in the transfer market, and in general, I think we are better. I think we are definitely better in the transfer market. In terms of style of play, I'm gonna wait. I need to see more before I make a real full-blown decision on this. My only concern, and it's my biggest concern I've got at the moment, is the mistakes we've made in the past, having really, really good players and then adding really, really average players and then thinking that's how you get results. It's almost like Spurs can't follow a successful blueprint done elsewhere. We think we can do it our way, a different way, and we're going to prove everyone, look, you need to copy us. And that model's failed for 24 years. So when you've got Toby Alderweireld, Wanyama, Harry Kane, Moussa Dembele, and then you add Nkudu and Dudu and Poo and G, Loriente at 69 years old, what do you want? What do you think is going to happen? Serge Aurier, of course it's going to go wrong. Now I see Vicario, Van der Ven, Romero, Udogie, Maddison. And then in comes Turbo Wiener, Brennan Johnson. We keep Emerson Royale. We keep Ben Davies. We play them. We need to win a game, so we bring on Højbjerg because he's still in the squad. When I see that, that's the exact same mistake we made in the past. So until that changes, I can't sit here and say, yeah, things have changed. And all this conversation of, oh, Ange suits Tottenham perfectly because he can unearth these gems and he can unearth these amazing players on the cheap. Listen, in Scotland, in Japan, Australia, that might work. And I've said this before. This is the Premier League. You're up against some of the best players and best managers in world football. You can't just do it that way. You need to spend, and Conte said it, you need to spend 60, 70 million pounds every year on a couple of players. Even Arsenal realised that when they dropped 100 million pounds on Declan Rice. Even they realised, do you know what? We need to start being a bit different if we're going to get it over the line. So for me, when I see that, then I'll say it's changed. Until then, I'm on the fence, guys. That's my honest opinion.
Oh yeah, no, but still, we went and dropped 65 million on Richarlison and 50 million on Johnson. Isn't that dropping big monies on? Fucking hell.
Next.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Stel. So there are small crumbs that we've seen of changes within the club, and you're right with the
guys. Real quick, I'm just going to shoot, man. Big up, guys.
See you later, Iggy.
Big up, everyone in the chat. Have a great week.
Iggy. Speak to you soon, buddy.
See you later, Iggy. Have a good one. We're going to wrap it up in 5 minutes, guys. Anyway, so godly.
So yeah, you're right. We've seen little breadcrumbs of it changing. We've seen the going faster in the market, etc., and that is a positive. I think other than that, there hasn't been too much change, and I think the biggest change that we need to start seeing, and again, I'll go back to next summer, is the ambition of the board, whether that has changed, because you're absolutely right. We've gone through so many years where we're just either buying for the sake of buying or buying having good but then buying average. If the ambition of the board changes and says, right, you know, we've got the ability here to make a massive impact this summer. We know we're going to have to spend money. We can spend money. Let's do it and up those levels. Then I will say, yes, absolutely. We have seen a massive change in the ethos of this club. Until that happens, we're on the same trajectory and we are just, we're doing the best we can with what we've got so far.
What I fear, right?
Spiders?
I fear spiders, right? And
I guess I gotta go.
see you, Mari.
Mari, but before you go, very quickly, has things changed?
In regards to Levy and the board, no.
What you've seen so far this season, when you compare it to the first year of Poch, to first year Mourinho, first year Conte, has anything changed for you?
Yes, I see more of what Ange wants to do, because Conte didn't really get a chance to do what he wanted to do, and so it was just what we saw by the end of the season, because they didn't really back Conte, and so you didn't really see the Inter Conte ball because the club failed him, and so going into the off season, we didn't have a direction of where we're going to go. We hired Ange, and I see the type of football he wants to implement. Now the main doubt question is, are we going to give him the players? Are we going to give him the talent? So I would say yes. There is a change.
Fair play, Mari. Big up. We'll speak in the week.
Okay.
What?
Someone's phone went off.
Just leaving music.
Mari's screen.
My biggest fear is that we're all saying, "Oh, let's see what happens this summer." But my gut is telling me that
History tells you, Maz.
Yeah, well,
that's all we've got to go by.
We done an amazing job in bringing in Vicario, Van der Ven. Adoji was purchased under Conte's era, right?
Maddison.
And Maddison was a good shout, right? But I can't help but think that an element of that is a little bit of luck. I don't think anyone really knew how good Vicario was going to be, or really how good Van der Ven was going to be, albeit that Van der Ven definitely had potential. And Maddison has obviously proven, right? But we're relying on the Levy and Ange on effectively finding a Harry Kane replacement and a replacement for Richarlison if they have the will to replace Richarlison, and a replacement for Son, really, because a top club will be looking at what comes after Son, and Levy has got a track record of striking gold accidentally a little bit, right? And he struck gold with Kane and he struck gold with Bale. They're not going to come round anymore. You're not going to have two of them.
And Poch struck gold.
And Poch, right? You're not going to have another Gareth Bale and you're not going to have another Harry Kane. There's only so many times that can happen to a football club. So what is his plan B? What is his strategy? Because so far his strategy has been Ndombele, Lo Celso, Johnson, Richarlison. That absolutely fills me with dread. Is that what we've got to look forward to this summer? That's what I'm worried about.
Well, that's why I say, Maz, the ambition of the board, right? That they've got to change their ways. They've got to understand that it's got to be what the manager wants that they need to go out and get, not what suits the club from a financial perspective. Otherwise, we're not going anywhere. It's going to be exactly as it was before. No change.
Got a super chat from a user. Stel, question for you. Why does our club struggle to offload players? It becomes such a problem. They become deadwood, yet other clubs seem to do it. I think one, clubs don't want our players. And two, we the ones we are happy to get rid of, we want a ridiculous deal where either they take them on a permanent deal at a price we're not prepared to agree with the other club. I just think we hardballed it too much, personally. There's another super chat as well.
Completely agree.
I guess they've been there long enough as well, and suddenly they've got a high salary, and someone who's that crap, other teams don't want to pay that bigger salary for.
Yeah.
Do you think there's
example?
Do you think there's also an element? We see a lot of reports of how much of like it's a family at Tottenham Hotspur, and there's almost like a sentiment that they don't want to get rid of people because they're part of the family.
I'm glad.
And sometimes you just have to be ruthless. It's just like, no, you're not good enough. You got to go.
You know what? I was wound up today. The Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur social media. They put this picture of it in the training center, in the training, like the gym. Pape Sarr and Basuma side by side, kind of like smiling, laughing in their training gears, and with a heart saying, "Brothers, we've just lost to Wolves, and we're together. We're a family." I'm like, oh my God! Like that, I think 100% is right, Lee, and I see it in the PR. We are. I think we're too nice. It's a bit too nicey. You've just lost.
I know. I agree. You've got to be ruthless. If you want to win anything, you've got to be ruthless.
That's almost gone from one extreme to the other, isn't it? Whereas before with Conte, it was almost like the players were scared to do this. They couldn't have catch up and this and that. And it was, like strict rules about doing X, Y, and Z. Whereas now they kind of almost want to show this togetherness and the loviness. And do you know what? We're all...
They got all upset when he's told them to stop celebrating top 4 finish because he wants to win the league. They all got all upset about it.
Yeah. Conte's comments last week. He said, I told my coaching staff, look at that when we got top 4. Don't ever celebrate that. And it's true. And you see it with our fan base. All these arguments, JP, are because we might not get top 4. Like, who cares?
Exactly.
I think half of that is true though, because like I know I can't remember if it was you or not. Someone was out there saying, "Oh, like the fan base are all happy about only winning 4th and stuff like that." At that point in time, prior to Conte coming in and him getting 4th, was an achievement. Right?
Yeah, we celebrated it like there was no tomorrow.
And kind of like we all did.
Prior to Conte? Sorry, no. What do you mean? What with Poch? Poch was getting 2nd, 3rds, and
no.
4ths,
I mean with
right?
Conte, because it was Conte's comments, right? I understand him saying that to his coaching team about that's not where we want to finish. So you guys look at the happiness, but can you imagine how happy they would be if we finished 1st?
No, I think it's more. You should expect better of yourself
from a coaching.
If you're not 1st, you're last type mentality. He wants to be 1st. He doesn't see finishing 3rd or 2nd as a victory.
But was his coaching
he just wants
team
1st.
Celebrating?
Do you know what? Conte reminds me of a manager that I once played under. When I was playing university football, we were a very good side. We actually won the South District Championships. Is it South District? South District? I can't remember what it was called. We won the league, and we got to a cup final, a semi-final, and we won the cup final. And we were like, yeah, you go crazy when you're young. It's like, and the manager pulled us in, and he said to us, "Don't ever drink the champagne until you've lifted the trophy." And I thought, you know what? It's like Conte. Conte's saying, don't celebrate something unless it's the main prize. And I kind of get that, because I kind of understand where he's coming from with it. Because I think we were just happy we finished above Arsenal, because it was between us and Arsenal for 4th, wasn't it?
But that comment was aimed at his coaching staff who were celebrating, right? Yeah. That comment wasn't aimed at the fans, was it?
No. No.
Right.
Well, I've got the comment
Okay.
here. Hold on. Oh, by the
So
way,
his
A
coaching
user says,
staff-
I'll get it up now. I've got it here. Hold on.
yeah,
Just quick super chat from A user. Ange did say it will be a rocky ride. Give him time. You're right. He did say that.
He did.
And it is a rocky ride. Conte's comments, right? He said, Antonio Conte finishing top 4 with Tottenham. For me, to celebrate 4th place and a place in the Champions League was really strange. At the end of the final game against Norwich, I called my staff and I said, pay attention. Don't be used to celebrating a Champions League place. I was very clear. I said we did the maximum from 9th to 4th with all the problems we faced. So, yeah, it was the coaching staff.
Yeah. Okay. But there's no reason that fans shouldn't be celebrating that, because from where we got to actually achieving that above our biggest rivals, I think fans are allowed to be happy about that.
JP, do you think that that's a problem? Because we've now we treat top 4 as a prize, as an achievement, as an award, and therefore we could go without winning trophies, but at least give us top 4. Do you not see that might now be a problem? I think that's a problem, personally.
It is a problem. It is a problem, but it also has to be, I don't know whether you put it into some sort of context and say, if you're starved for 24 years and you get a drop of water, you're not happy that you get that drop of water?
I think top 4 thing. The top 4 thing is nothing to celebrate. The only people that should be celebrating top 4 is the board, because they know they're going to get more money. At the end of the day, celebrating something like top 4, when, let's be honest, you've got about as much chance as winning the Champions League. You're probably about 20th down the line. What's the point of celebrating? Because you're only going to be disappointed.
There's no point.
So
it
doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's an achievement. Yes, it is an achievement, but nothing to be celebrated.
I would say our fans were more happy. Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't say. But my judgment would be I was certainly more happy the fact that we got top 4. We beat Arsenal to it and stopped them from getting top 4.
Do you know what? This comment from Kuva is very telling, right? So Kuva says, big up Kuva, top 4 is way more important to me this season because I'm encouraged by how we spent money last summer rather than the usual spunking it up the wall. The January window worried me, though. So I guess what Kuva's saying here is if we get Champions League, that means more money. And if we repeat the recruitment process of last summer, we should have a better transfer window with Champions League.
History doesn't prove that, though, does it? Still, because we do this every time. When we need to rebuild, we get the fantastic 7 in when we got all those players that come in, right? Because Levy panics, right? And it's exactly what sort of happened this time. He brought Ange in, right? Because he wanted to get someone to help rebuild the squad. He's got out some of those dead wood because they were so bad last year, but as in Levy's typical style, he then just stops, doesn't he? He's done his spending. He spent the money. That's it. Don't want to do anymore.
See, this is where this summer is going to tell us everything. If we go and have a big summer window to the levels of last year and better, especially if we get Champions League, then I think it's fair to say that we would all come on the show and say, do you know what? Things have changed. Things have definitely changed. Changing, yeah. Sorry, well done. Changing. My worry is our best transfer windows have been when either we're not in Europe or we're not in the Champions League because we're from a low place and we need to get back up there, so we've got to go bigger. If we get top 4, will that make us comfortable? Like all we need is 2 or 3 bits, and we can maintain top 4. We can stay there. And this is where what Kuva says. I'm halfway on this. He's right. Last summer was encouraging, so let's see what happens. I'd rather have Champions League to boost it, but at the same time, I agree with what Maz says. History does not tell us that's how it works. That's not.
I think personally, for me, what I would be comfortable with is us finishing in the Europa League, having a right opportunity, a right chance at giving it a go. Because let's face it, unless we blow 500 million, we ain't gonna go anywhere in the Champions League, right? What we could do is, which could be a win-win, is qualify for it whenever we get knocked out those group stages or something, then drop into the Europa, which could mean a bit more dough, right? But personally, I think giving the Europa a good go with having a good opportunity to win that would be so much more in the bank for Levy and for Ange, and that would really bring a happy factor, feel good factor to the whole base.
Do you know what? I put a comment in Sav's channel the other day, and two things, right? Two things quickly, and I know we're overrun already, but for two things. One thing I don't want to see in the summer is the
Richarlison.
massive.
Oh,
well,
sorry.
yeah, exactly. Richarlison is too much of an emphasis on this pre-season and tours. I'd rather we not go anywhere. I'd rather we just huddle down and go, right, summer transfer window. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have friendly games, summer at
Billericay
home
and blah,
or
blah,
anything,
blah.
whatever. Yeah, instead of going, oh, we're going to Asia or we're going to Dubai or we'll go something like that. That's not what's needed, but that's what the board will probably do for all the money and all this kind of. I get that, all right, but I'd rather that didn't happen. I'd rather we just knuckled down and got onto it. But I put a comment in Sav's thing, and I said, look, I know everyone's expectations of what's going on, but this is what my expectation of what the plan. I think the plan should have been. Just my opinion, doesn't mean it's going to happen. First year, no expectation. Do what you can do, achieve what you can achieve, be happy with it, and then just see what happens in the summer. Second year, if you get into the Champions, if you get into a Europa League or something like that, you build a squad in the summer that can do two things. A, have a good run in the Europa League or one of the lower leagues, and also have really good runs in the cup. The league is what it is. You see where you achieve, no expectation. But the third year, if you do something exceptional like win the Europa League or win a cup or something like that, great. But now your challenge is how high can we get up the league in year three? Then build on the squad again to challenge for that. That's what I would say, not rather than just trying to chuck all your eggs in one basket and go for it, this, that, and the other. I think it needs to be a gradual process. That's what I'd like to see achievement next year. Go for one of the cups, go for one of this, make that a priority, or even the Europa League, because I think that's more achievable than sitting in the Champions League and getting money in on for a Wednesday or a Tuesday night, and that's about it, because you've nowhere near got the squad to be able to challenge for that. Do that the next year. Do that year three. Just so you know where you are and what you really need to get into to tighten the squad up to do that, achieve those kind of things. It's no point trying to rush it. It really isn't.
And that's where this kind of roadmap kind of almost comes in, doesn't it? And if that's laid out in front of us, I don't know if they're scared about not achieving it, but I think a lot of fans would be a lot more lenient and not so aggressive and throw their toys at the pram when we lose against Wolves and stuff like that. If they came at the start of the season and said, we want to see a style of football and then we want to progress that, and in 10 years time we want to do this, in 5 years time we want to do this,
Like
this is the path that we're leading up to that, right? We'd all go, all right, fair enough. The first year
we got a target. We've got something to benchmark against. That's the point. Right now, we've got nothing. We don't know what he wants to achieve or what his plan is. So we've got nothing to, benchmark against. So we're just so when we lose and stuff like that, it's like because our expectations are whatever our mind can let our expectations be, as high as that can possibly be, which is just not really something you can really do. Really, it's as simple as that.
On that explosive piece of educational knowledge that Lee shared with us, I wasn't being sarcastic. I'm just trying to end the show on an intellectual way. Don't know why I did that. Guys, we're going to wrap it up. It's been a good show tonight. Really good show. I'm live with Sava tomorrow, I think 3 p.m. Mari's got a show either Wednesday or Thursday. North London is ours. Friday should be myself and Matt. Thursday we're on Sava's show. I think Lee, you're on that as well. And then there's no match this weekend, so there's no post-match show because it's the Carabao Cup final. God help us if Poch wins that. God help us if he wins that with Chelsea.
Can I add to my reasons for feeling pissed off?
If he wins that, I think. Do you know what makes me laugh? Fans who say being entertained is more important than trophies, and for me, it's about doing things the right way, the sustainable way, and all that. if Arsenal or Chelsea win a trophy this year, they're going to be the first fans to go into a meltdown. And my response would be, but trophies aren't important, right? Like, what's the issue here? If Poch wins that with Chelsea, we're going to get it from every fan base. Every fan base is going to come for us. That's the worry.
Well, I think I've got to be honest. I will be in a meltdown because it's just like fuck.
See what you could have won.
Yeah,
it's with them. But with them, they always seem to
Yeah,
they always seem to just shit on us in a way that no one else can shit on us. They do it in such a special way. I hate it.
Yeah, but
that's why I have a bigger hate for them than I do for our Woolwich.
We have so many teams like that now, though.
Yeah.
You can see it's like Rob Frank. I'll lose my shit if Chelsea win that.
I'm telling you,
you would.
I'm telling you, we will. Winning style. Yeah, look, I agree, Cooper. I want both. Look, I think most teams that win trophies tend to do it in a stylish way.
You can do both.
I think it normally comes hand in hand.
Of course you can. Yeah.
But if you told me like to shit house a whole month of football, but it gets you the trophy, I would do it. I mean, I think Spurs are just in that place where at some point we've got to win silverware, man. Like it can't go on like this. But okay, look, horses for courses. Big up to all the panel. Thank you, everyone, as always, in the chat. Amazing. The super chats as well. Thank you to Dietrich Kane, Ian JD, Dilla Spurs. Big up to you, Matt Coppin, Gamlin, Gabriel Marshall, Verbatim, and A User. Thank you all for your questions and donations that you put in. All right, JP, final words.
Final words would be, look, expectations are expectations. We all have expectations. And if it's a case of them coming true or us being frustrated with them, unless they're set by somebody, by the board, we have to have our own expectations and make them up, right? So we're all allowed to be frustrated. We're all allowed to go on a happy jolly. Got 2 weeks off. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Maz.
Anjin, let's back him. Let's see what happens to the end of the season. Let's hope Chelsea don't win.
We'll back him to the end of the season.
Because if Chelsea actually win the cup, for me, the season's over. I don't care where we finish. I'll probably stop watching football until the end of the season. No, but I mean, look, a lot of fans and including myself, we're upset. I'm upset not because of Ange or even specifically the players, but it's more a repeat of what I'm seeing under Levy's stewardship of the club, and that's where my frustration lies. But yeah, let's see what happens in the next few games.
Lee.
I mean, to be fair, I think this weekend was probably the worst weekend we could have ever gone through, even over all the injuries and all that kind of stuff earlier in the season. You know, Man City couldn't beat Chelsea. We lost to Wolves. Arsenal gave another team a spanking. It just can't get any. Everything went against us this weekend. So hopefully the players will take the next 2 weeks, which is another horrible length of time to be without football, give their heads a wobble, and they come back with a better mentality against Crystal Palace. Hopefully we'll have Udogie and Porro back. But I'll tell you what, I do struggle when we're not got no matches on for 2 weeks. Really, really frustrating. So hopefully we just get through this quick enough and get back to winning ways.
And it gives Porro and Udogie a good chance to get back, right?
I think Udogie will be back, but I think Porro's on the. He said 2 weeks, so might be, might not.
You know, Crystal Palace. Obviously, best wishes to Roy Hodgson, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, if they get Klasner, he's a very, very good manager. Really good. And if they get him,
it's already done, isn't it?
Oh, is it done? Well, his first game is going to be versus Spurs, so that new manager bounce will be fantastic at White Hart Lane. Look, for me, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't care where we finish. Once we went out the domestic cups, I couldn't. That's when I said I don't care. I'm not bothered. For me, I've always said trophies. We're not going to get a trophy. I don't care if we come 8th, 6th, 4th, 3rd. Don't care. All I want to see for the rest of this season is what I saw in those first 10 games. A team that goes at it and plays well and gives everyone a game of football. Win, lose, or draw. That's all I care. Because I'll be honest with you, watching Spurs right now, it's been hard. I've just found it very difficult. And I can't watch football when it's like that. So hopefully the 2-week break, they just gel again, they get it together. And Ange just stops playing certain players. And I'm confident we can get top 4. I am. I do think we'll do it because I'm not impressed by Man United. I'll say it to you. I watched them against Luton Town. They were rubbish. Luton literally gave them 2 goals on a plate. It was so terrible. So
I watched the last 25 minutes, and it was just watching Luton just batter the penalty area. That's what it was. And they had 2 chances to kill the game off as well completely, and they fluffed both of them.
That's the Villa's
And you're
rivalry,
right.
not Man United.
And you're
They've
right
got
about
Europe,
Villa. Once
They've got
Villa
Europe.
start Europe, I
Once they've got
think you're
Europe,
right
I think.
about that.
Because they've lost Kunis and they've lost Diego Carlos. So they've got long-term injuries kicking in, which means they're not going to be able to rotate certain positions as much. Do you know, it was so typical before the Man United game. Luton's top striker gets injured in the warm-up. You couldn't write this. Like, how have you done that on the day I need you to actually get a result against Man United? But anyway,
Listen, let me write the headline for you because this is as Spurs as it gets. Crystal Palace tonight without Elise and Eze. On Saturday, they'll have no Elise and Eze. They'll probably get beaten. Spurs comes around, they'll both be back, and they'll play world class and just put us under the knife. I can just see it. I'm just writing that headline right now.
If we play the way we can
man.
play,
Cheers, Lee.
right?
Sorry.
Right, if we
be that
play the
guy.
way we can play, we'll beat Palace. Right? We will
should
beat
do.
Palace.
Yeah.
You know, we did it at their ground, so I don't see why we can't do it at our ground. So look, I just want to see us perform. All right, listen, we're going to wrap it up. Guys, as always, thank you so much. Check us out during the week. Check the socials for when we're next live on whose channel, our channel, other people's channels. Other than that, thank you as always. Come on, you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.